Hello, hello. Start my bot too. So 2 Warlord sets today. We got Liereyy ACCM and Viper versus TaToH. Starting with Liereyy versus ACCM. Need a minute before we get the drafts. Let me just check out AW2CM.net myself and see if I can find them. So welcome everyone. And yes, indeed, I did find them. Let's see, I don't need the USA Cup drafts. I need the Warlords draft. There we go. Boom. Alright, so we got Crownwood for Liereyy, Basmo for ACCM, and picking the crazy maps. Just keep an eye on members of his stream. Alright. Also, apparently there's an AoE 4 tournament going on now. They're having the finals today. Might keep a small eye on that during the day. We've missed 1 frame due to rendering lag. One entire frame. So Kilimanjaro will be first. Okay, interesting first map there, Kilimanjaro. Twinking Toby, hello, hello. Kilimanjaro map that in between these two, I think, would probably favor Liereyy. Or I guess the semi-open category would. And Twitch fans, 2K26, welcome to the chat. Good morning. Want to say you love the stream? Well, thanks for stopping by. Hello and welcome to the chat. Appreciate the support. So what colors do we want to use for these players? I'm thinking Liereyy blue and ACCM red. I know blue versus red is kind of boring, but Liereyy changes his color every game, and sometimes ACCM picks cyan. I think just maybe a consistent blue-red might work. You like boring? Hello, affiliate pod girl. When it comes to colors. I like... When it comes to colors, I like cyan. That's all I can really say. Let's see, let's have Steam launch AoE 2. While I'm here, let's clean out my save game folder. Just to keep it nice and tidy. Let's open up Capture Age. Yeah, I have dozens of single-player recs in my folder from when I was testing those maps the other day. Let's just get rid of them. Back up the multiplayer recs. Gonna have lots of single-player recs from testing the boards too soon. Alright, the folder's clear. Push. Hello, Red Cliffy. So waiting for the Civ draft. I'm still on my soapbox about we need a timer between maps and Civ drafts. As you have Ring Nomad, the second map for ACCM, and Isthmus, the final map for Liereyy. Harry had been picking Isthmus too. Looks like he and Liereyy maybe are practicing that map a bit. Hope you don't like to watch basketball. Nets are so bad. I do like to watch basketball, and the Nets are very bad. I never felt like there was much rivalry between the Nets and the Knicks, though, so I can kind of cheer for the Knicks in the playoffs. I've been watching the Timberwolves for a while in the playoffs, too, but San Antonio and OKC, I think, are a step above everyone else. I get the feeling the Western Conference Finals are going to be the real finals this year, as is often the case. So this is one of those literally everyone is streaming days. Let's see if Orlu would want to co-cast. I'll message him and see if he replies. Even worse, though, I'm a Mets fan. This year is very typical of the Mets. Message him on stream. He never sees Discord. Alright, message him on stream. We casted his USA Cup last night. That was a lot of fun. Those were 3 games. It felt like he should have lost, but he somehow won. Orlu from Chicago. He's from Illinois. He's from, I guess, the outskirts of Chicago. Probably similarly to how I am outside of New York City. I was worried about the Mets offseason. I feel like we made a lot of questionable moves this offseason. And most of the questions came up negative as we started the season. Good Sunday, Bailo. On convincing win versus the GB today, I have no idea what the GB is or what was won. I also learned that today is some type of holiday in Norway. So Viper is playing on a special Norway day. So who's going to pick Way for Kilimanjaro? Looks like it'll be Liereyy picking Way for Kilimanjaro. Hello, Stark. Oh, and Benj plays on both YouTube and on Twitch. Hello. So Way and Georgians. Georgians are always a really high pick. And they're so good, but I feel like they fall off compared to some of the other civs. That on a hybrid map, I'd still rather have Dravidians or Italians or Japanese over them. And on an open map, I'd still prefer Magyars, maybe even Way. I just feel like there may be the second tier of saves for a ton of maps, but not necessarily tier 1. And I feel like a number 1 overall pick for them is maybe a bit too early.
Barbarossa, I do hate to strike you when you're down, but the Lombard League has agreed that I would make a better emperor. So sorry.
Ah, thank you very much, Benj Blaze, for using your Prime sub. Appreciate the support. We've been doing well on the, not just Prime subs, but the tier 1 actual Twitch subs this month so far, which is pretty nice if we want to make progress towards that 70-30 split on Twitch. So right away, Wei, Dravidians, Portuguese, Burgundians for Liereyy. Then Khmer. We have Georgians, Magyars, Chinese, Malay, Armenians for ACCM. So if you're thinking of where to put them, feels like Magyars go on Crownwood. Orlu's replying. Sure. Right, we'll call Orlu when the game's about to start. Constitution Day, Norway, yes. Right, and then Catan's all the way at the end. So Catan's could also be a Crownwood civ. These days I'm not sure what to think about them. I think their pastures have been nerfed a bit since they first came out, and they're not quite as overpowered as they were before. And the woo at the end. Kilimanjaro Wei versus... Could be Chinese there. I'm thinking of where the extra vills pay off the most for the Chinese. Ring Nomad's weird because you start on the transport ship and you transport to build the TC. But if you do a dock at the same time as the TC and maybe you're fishing, maybe you have the food in time so you don't have idle time on the Ring Nomad start. I don't think I like Chinese on Crownwood as much as I would have before the Three Kingdoms where they don't have camels. As much as I think Fire Lancers overall are better, that does feel kind of like an open map where camels could have been useful. And when I look at ACCM, I think maybe Magyars on Crownwood, Chinese on Kilimanjaro. Malay... I mean, Malay could be Isthmus, Basmo, or Ring Nomad. I guess kind of the same between Malay, Armenians, and Georgians. I could see a case for them on those maps. Maybe not... I guess it has to be Malay on Ring Nomad, Armenians for Isthmus, and Georgians for Basmo? Unless he wants to use the woo somewhere. Maybe he has a Fire Archer plan. For Liereyy... I'm guessing... Ooh, does he prefer Portuguese or Dravidians? He'll use one of those for Isthmus and one for Ring Nomad. I haven't tested out the builds on Ring Nomad. I would guess Dravidians go there. Then Burgundians for Basmo. Khmer for Crownwood. Orcatons. I'm not sure where else you would use Chinese other than Kilimanjaro. Feels like between Crownwood and Kilimanjaro, I'd prefer them on Kilimanjaro. You're a bit farther apart, so you should get a smooth Dark Age with them. Open up the spectator dashboard. So this is the winner's match. And it's not an elimination match, so neither of these players is knocked out if they lose. But they will be fighting for a bye straight to the quarterfinals. The loser has to play in the round of 12. Due to no food discount on start. Yeah, that's true. On Nomad, we don't have the food discount. I haven't really come up with a good convention for how to set the food on the Nomad starts for 9vil starts. There are a few maps in DE right now, the quick start maps. And I just did the same thing that those do, where it gives you standard Nomad resources. I don't know if maybe there should be a food penalty or some other penalty to the 9vil start on Nomad. Yeah, we fixed the bug yesterday on Lowland where we didn't remove the food and the wood from the civs. That is fixed now. I don't know if the players knew about that or were prepared for it. Viper just came into the chat and was like, yo, this is broken. And I'm like, what? Oh, it is. Cheesesteak Jimmy's. 1,000 food, let's go. Yeah, so we're gonna co-cast with Orlu in a bit. And hopefully I make it through today. I need the help with still dealing with allergies. They've been taking me out the past few days. So Liereyy is green and ACCM is cyan. Personally, I like those colors, but maybe that gets a bit confusing for chat. Should we go red versus blue? Someone said earlier they liked boring colors. I was on the lookout for great NYC-style pizza. Tell that to Orlu when he joins. He and his Chicago style. Casseroles. Oh, Lierey's picking red. Ooh. We could put Liereyy in red and ACCM in cyan, and just roll with the colors they pick. I like that. I like that. And Sadishes, thank you very much for using your Prime sub.
Sweet Jean, I shall avenge thee.
Ah, I love the passion in that voice acting. I now know why I hate red and blue. You hate red and blue. Now, you can never please everyone with the colors. Someone's gonna come into chat and be like, I want red and blue. Someone else is gonna be like, no, red and blue's boring. Go do something else. Kilimanjaro. Maybe this could be Georgians too. Thank you, Alskar.
Coward, fight and earn your right to rule.
Hey, it's a year. It is a year. How good are fortified churches on Kilimanjaro? Because it is a middle control map, and maybe putting churches at the top and trying to control that early could be useful for Georgians or Armenians. But it feels like you're probably saving Armenians more for a hybrid map. You have a lot of those acacia forests, so the mule carts could be nice. Imagine that. You have a surprise hole in your wood line, and you run the mule cart over to wall it off. Alright, looks like they are launching. So I'm going to call Orlu, and I'll also get an ad out of the way before the game. Alright, let me go knock on Orlu's door. Let me see if he answers. Lierey's bans are like, no DLC allowed. Yep, Lierey's still banning the DLC civs. Alright. Hello, Orlu. Wait, my Discord can't, or my chat can't hear you. Let me click a button. Okay, say something again.
Say something again.
Yes, and casual Mario name, thank you for the follow. So, Orlu, we casted your USA Cup games yesterday.
Yes, I heard. How torturous was it?
I felt like every game you should have lost and ended up winning.
Yep. I feel that about every game I play.
You had those 3 clandestine villagers on Mesa Verde that built a surprise castle.
Yep. Well, I figured he wouldn't be looking there. Everything was focused on the front.
Yeah, if he'd killed those villas, I think he wins the game at that point, because then you're kind of trapped. But
I think if he just
surprise
rolls the castle right on my face, he wins the game.
But that's a coacher game too. I don't know what happened there.
I don't know. A bunch of stuff happened, and then I had the winner's screen.
Anyway,
that's That's just how it works.
Yeah. Anyway, we are getting started here. Let me update some text in Capture Age so I can see it properly. And we will have Kilimanjaro. And are you okay sticking with the cyan versus red color scheme?
I absolutely am.
All right. That's why I take Orlu's opinion. Whenever I ask chat, they're like, oh, we want red versus blue. And then other people are like, red versus blue is boring. And I'm just like, Orlu's colorblind. If he can see it, I'm okay with it.
The only times I really feel like I need to change are blue and purple, and maybe red and purple, or gray and green.
Or gray and gray.
No, gray and gray is fine. All right, well, welcome everybody. This is the winner's match in the Warlords V group stage with ACCM here in the cyan as the Georgians to the southwest, and to the north in the red as TaToH. It will be Liereyy.
Yeah, do you think Liereyy can find the way to victory? So in the Civ draft, ACCM also had Chinese. I was thinking it was either Georgians or Chinese for this map. And Georgians with fortified churches and mule carts should be pretty good for going between all those baobab trees in the middle if they have to get there, and taking the top of the map with fortified churches.
Yeah, definitely a big fan of Georgians on a lot of maps like this. I mean, I did play them yesterday after all. They just feel so consistent. Like, you can play them aggressively because of the free mule cart, so you can go for a very early drush, which I think is exactly what ACCM is doing.
Yep, he's got that barracks up.
Early barracks, which I guess is possible.
Do you think he's gonna make a chicken funnel if he walls to the gold, and then just a couple of tiles of gold, like walls from the gold to the TC, to the house to the TC?
I don't think he's gonna chicken funnel, but I guess he could. But he's gonna click up here on 18 pop, so just a quick uptime here. Will there be some men-at-arms? I do see a Vil going over to gold, so that certainly is indicative of that. But what do you think of the way, T-West? Because I feel like my opinions of the 3K civs are always jaded, so I never have a good judge on them.
Well, I think Leary's opinions of the Last Chieftain civs are maybe a bit jaded, but because he did ban them. When you go for the way, they have an amazing eco, and then they have 3 unique units. So that's kind of what you do. They have 3 very strong units. They maybe fall off a bit in Imperial Age, so you want to use your eco to get a good Castle Age advantage. And that can be what this map is about, trying to take the hill and the gold piles on it, and then have the high ground. You can
what's the third unique unit?
The third unique unit? They have the Tiger Cav, the Shenbei Raider, and the Huiguang Cav. And the Huiguang Cav.
That's not a unique unit. It's a regional unit.
How many civs have it? Like 3?
Yes. The 3K civs. Same with traction unit. They also have Lotrons, which are a regional unit.
Oh, that's true. They have. Then we'll count traction trebs, we'll count Lutrons, and we'll count Cao Cao. So that's 6 unique units they have.
Yep, there we go.
All right, so 6 unique units for the Civ.
And we wonder why people
units,
say they don't feel like AoE 2 civs.
Yeah, the 3 cav units, though, they make in the Castle Age kind of fill different roles. You have the essentially low HP but heavily armored cav, the Huiguang replacing the Knight. The Shenbei Raider is just basically a better cav archer. And then the Tiger Cav is a high pierce armor anti-archer unit. Kind of like a role you might envision the Tarkin playing for the Huns, but just a better unit overall.
Yes, they do. But have you ever felt that Wei are literally just better Huns?
I never thought about it that way, but now that I said Tiger Cav are like better Tarkins, and then their unique unit is a better Cav Archer, yeah, that does make sense.
And they have a better eco, and a much more, like, smooth play style, you know, with being able to house wall and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, Lierey's showing off the house walls right there, keeping the scout and the men-at-arms out. And yeah, I guess that does make sense.
Damage right there.
The only thing that the Huns have, though, would be higher accuracy actual trebs that are nice. Other than that, yeah.
Yeah, but I think most people would take traction trebs these days.
I don't know. I think that traction trebs are really strong in their own right, but they're so bad against buildings. I feel like I'd still prefer actual trebs.
Well, the thing with traction trebs is that they're amazing as a bombard cannon replacement and really bad as a trebuchet replacement.
Yeah, basically. Like, I definitely prefer them to bombard cannon other than maybe Turks. But to trebs, I'd kind of need trebs to fill the role of trebs. So ACCM will lose his scout trying to get in on the berries, and also will have all of the militia cleaned up. So Liereyy loses a scout, but otherwise cleans everything up, doesn't really take much damage.
Yeah, this is giving ACCM an opportunity to get himself fully walled, so it's not like this was all for naught. And that said, Liereyy also has been unable to get the horse collar upgrade until right now, so I guess you're delaying that a little bit from your opponent. It feels like both players can have something that they can be relatively happy with how this early game went.
The thing is that Liereyy still has 3 farms and they're freshly built, so horse collar will still mostly apply to them.
I was just thinking about it in terms of the extra villager.
Oh yeah, that's true in terms of the extra villager. But I guess that's...
Remember when Fervor was just a give Aztec monks 5 HP upgrade?
Yep, I remember that. Fervor. Remember when Fervor was actually bugged because it only applied to monks while they were carrying relics?
Yep. That was the aforementioned give Aztecs 5 HP.
5 HP. So ACCM coming forward with archers and spears, but Liereyy prepared with the best unit in the game, the skirmisher, to defend. And he will be a bit downhill though, that makes it a bit awkward. But still taking a decent fight with the skirms and can come over with the scouts.
Yep, and I feel like one of the ways in which, in the Yo Vinchester series yesterday, that Vinch didn't respect the map as much, is that he ended up playing really passive in terms of not trying to go for the middle, and Yo really, really abused that in the one game he did win. So I feel like Liereyy hopefully would have seen that, playing the same Civ on the same map, and hopefully makes for a bit of a more contested effort for the middle.
Also, the way the golds spawn, both of them spawn towards ACCM's side of the middle. Maybe I need to adjust that for the future.
Maybe you shouldn't have the shoe flag in the middle of Kilimanjaro.
That DE did that. I just kept it there, but yeah, that flag makes no sense. Can you translate the character on it?
On the economic colonialism of China in most of African countries. So unless you're trying to make a political statement right there, I don't think it makes a lot of sense.
I think that's a bit outside the time frame of AoE 2. Although with the 3 kingdoms, it's probably not as bad as it would have been previously.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Well, Lumber Camp number 2 coming in here for Liereyy. It is really important on this map to try and figure out that second wood line you take, because usually it's like around this time that the first one starts to run out. We'll see a similar dynamic on Crownwood later, probably. But Lierey's still only 1 vill ahead, and both players are going to be getting competitive Castle Age times here.
Yeah, and I think the map is set up really well for ACCM to get a fortified church right between the 2 gold mines on the top. And just hold
that'd be a great spot for sure.
Maybe you wanted to be a bit more forward so that Liereyy doesn't like his fighting uphill instead of on level ground, but wherever you put it up there, it's a great way to hold the top of the mountain. Also, would acacia trees actually be at the top of the mountain in the snow like this?
I don't think so. I don't think there would be any trees there.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, I gotta go rethink the realities of this Kilimanjaro map now. Because it's completely, like, remastered. Like, they updated it. And we used the updated version, and I've tweaked it a bit, but I didn't want to completely overhaul it because they'd put time into updating it. But I don't know. Well, we'll have to make a formal complaint. But as it stands, we are on our way up to Castle Age. We have the second range coming in for ACCM. And someone pointed out that he didn't have double bit axe. That is true. ACCM absolutely needs to grab that upgrade. It's one of the reasons he's starting to fall behind in resources. But I gotta say, if you're just playing Georgian Cav Archers into Wei, it feels like you're just doing what they're doing, but worse. Yeah, I mean, the Georgian Cav Archers do heal, but they will miss Thumb Ring in the late Castle Age. And they will miss the final armor then if you go up to Imp. and you're against the Shinbei Raiders, which are, in all honesty, I think just a superior Cav Archer.
Yeah, they're basically better Kipchoks that you don't need to train at the castle.
Yes, yeah. That's a good way to put it.
And they were balanced around not having only 4 attack, and then they gave them 5 attack, and then the unit became insane.
Yeah. I mean, they're very weak, but that doesn't really matter for a Cav Archer, because it's always in the back and not up front fighting.
And it's able to avoid taking damage, so the low HP doesn't usually matter all that much. But Castle Age is in. It is Cav Archer time because every Civ is a Cav Archer Civ, and it will be a second TC immediately for each player. So both going to be looking to take that more economic route as they start to develop their CA numbers.
Yeah, and ACCM still no double bit axe, so he's not going for any eco upgrades. And just like you said about Vinch the other day, staying at the bottom of the hill, ACCM doing the same thing now with a TC on his main gold. And right now, Lierey's the one with the forward momentum over the hill with the scouts coming forward and the skirms on top.
Yeah, looking to clean up maybe some stray archers. There are no blacksmith upgrades in for these ranged units, which is a little odd, but I guess it's just... Honestly, it's a good microcosm of the meta, which is just... You want to rush up the Cav Archer or Skirmisher play, but you also don't want to invest anything into it that delays your economy. And so it's kind of a weird balance to strike that we just have all these CA out with no upgrades.
Yeah, meanwhile, Liereyy has Bodkin with Shinbei Raiders, and now he'll have the hill advantage in the fights.
Yep. Both players do have Bloodlines. Bloodlines is so crazy for the Shinbei Raiders. It's go from 36 to 56 HP.
Yeah, that's a huge upgrade.
Best utilization of Bloodlines in terms of percentage HP increase.
You know what? Maybe the Tupi, how we have all these and Fire Lancer civs, the Tupi could be like an and Bloodline civ where it applies to the Blackwood Archers.
Ah, yes, that sounds
Convert
delightful.
a stable, research Bloodlines. I mean, the Blackwood Archers, they're kind of like a Plumed Archer, right? They're kind of a Cav Archer replacement in some ways. They're fast, they're speedy.
Well, they're not that fast. They're still a fair bit slower than Plumes. Only 1.1 movement speed to 1.2. I mean, that's like saying a Rattan Archer is a Cav Archer replacement.
They are pretty speedy. Oh, look at those Shinbei Raiders all missed. ACCM dodging.
Yeah, remember when I said it just felt like ACCM was doing what Liereyy was doing, but worse? He doesn't have any fortified churches. That would be critical for expanding his eco. He's behind in Cav Archer numbers and upgrades. He's behind in eco upgrades. I'm not really sure how he's going to be getting an advantage in this game.
Yeah, and most importantly, since he's behind in army, that means Liereyy has the hill right now. And the nice map he has with the 2 golds next to him won't matter if Liereyy actually gets like a forward castle maybe at that area, because he does have a couple of vills on stone right now and might be eventually thinking of some type of fortification on that hill.
Yeah, really does need to be considering that as it is so important, as we saw yesterday from Yo in that really interesting game. But ACCM just plops down to 3rd TC. He's got the 1 fortified church in right now, but not having ballistics, and you might recognize it right there with how the Shinbei Raider shot hit you. But ACCM's at the back, and as you're saying, it's going to be him at the bottom of a hill against a Civ with a better army and a better economy.
Yep, and 3rd TC in the back on stone. He does have a fortified church on a wood line now. I wonder if ACCM could maybe try to inch his way forward with fortified churches. Like, go from the TC, do one just maybe like 10 to 15 tiles up the hill. And then he'd kind of get some of those Bobab trees for Lumberjack Vills and have a spot he can garrison to fight the Shinbei Raiders from. And maybe be able to take better fights with that.
It feels like he needs to try something because the small eco lead from Liereyy is starting to balloon into a gigantic eco lead for Liereyy as he's continuing to get his eco upgrades. He's continuing to produce more army, 22 to 10. And look at this TC from Liereyy. Liereyy says, oh, yeah, nice map you got there. What if it becomes my map now instead?
Yeah, I was thinking Lierey's going to stone. He's got 4 vills there. Maybe he'll do a castle soon. He's just like, nah, I don't need a castle. My army's big enough. I'll just do a TC. I'll start making more vills out here.
He is the king in the castle right there. And despite the 2 fortified churches there for ACCM, still missing a critical bow saw upgrade. And it just feels like you're not really playing to the strengths of Georgians here. You're just kind of sitting back and doing the Wei game plan. Like, Wei execute the meta better than almost any Civ. So if you just try and play super meta against them, it feels like you're just playing at a big disadvantage.
Yeah. Are the Xianbei Raiders, are they cheaper, or do they train faster than the Cav Archers? It feels like, yeah, Liereyy has a better eco, but he's also amassed, so many of these.
They are both cheaper and train faster.
Yeah. So, as we said, like the Huns, but better. Wherever Huns had discounted Cav Archers, this is discounted and faster training. If you have a Magyar as ally, do they also benefit from the team bonus that Cav Archers train faster?
They do.
Oh boy.
I mean, it feels like there's so little to say about this game because it just feels like we're barreling down towards a very obvious conclusion, and I don't see really anything that's going to be changing that anytime soon. You got leather archer armor now coming in. The Xianbei Raiders are more expensive on the wood cost than our Cav Archers, but I mean, it's 65 wood, 25 gold.
Oh, that's cheap on gold.
It's really cheap on gold.
So ACCM going to be adding in mangonels to try to push uphill. I mean, maybe there's a hope for ACCM that Wei fall off late game harder than the Georgians do, and he could maybe push at that point. Because the Georgians also feel like, we talked about churches at the top of the hill, a very defensive civ, where you do a few churches even at the bottom of the hill, and you're not going to die in the Castle Age.
True, but my bigger concern is the economy and the map control both feel like nigh insurmountable advantages. And where the Georgians would want to shine in this matchup would come from having a much more efficient army, right? You get the towers down, you get Manaspas, you get siege weapons, you have fully upgraded halbs as Georgians. Cav Archers, although it's going to be a good option against some more melee-heavy civs, that's not the way. Literally.
Yeah, there's that castle from Liereyy. A bit behind the TC, being somewhat conservative with the placement.
That was like me trying to use the monks yesterday. Trying everything versions of the monks just always die.
And here, this fight, ACCM hoping that with the mangonels he could take it. Is this an okay fight from him?
I don't think so.
And now the mangonels forward for Liereyy. He got the workshop up forward on that hill.
I know the Tiger Cav is coming in.
Yeah, now the Tiger Cav anti-archer unit, Lierey's doing the armor for it. That gets up to 6 pierce armor. So that'll just shrug off anything the Cav archers do.
I was gonna say maybe ACCM can try and scrounge a faster Imperial Age, but no, that's not happening either.
Yeah, I mean, he's only 5 hills down, but the eco res collected difference is absolutely huge.
And it's rough. Like, this is the first pick civ for each player.
And there's handcart for ACCM, but imp for Liereyy. And once he gets up, he'll need a couple more workshops for the traction tribs, but then the Wei will have the discounted traction tribs. So he'll probably very quickly get up to 6 to 8 traction tribs, and at that point be able to push buildings. Especially with the hill advantage.
Once you get enough of those, it does become much less of an issue. Both players on 3 TCs. Liereyy, 45 seconds faster to imp. He's got triple the army. He's developing the Tiger Cav as well, which can be your super strong post-imp unit. It feels like Liereyy hasn't actually been under any pressure since early Feudal Age.
But are the Tiger Cav a strong post-imp unit? I think they really do fall off when you get to imp.
They do, depending on what you're up against. I don't think... I mean, they're going to be pretty bad against Manaspa, I think. But... is ACCM ever going to be getting to a bunch of Manaspa?
Yeah, but I also think they fall off because they don't get any extra pierce armor when they get imp. They stay on 6. So while that's great in the Castle Age, that's not good against Arrowfire in the Imperial Age, or at least not as good.
Oh, that outpost is not part of the wall. It is a liar. The palisade's even worse, though. Army gonna charge in here from Liereyy. Chain barding armor coming in.
Yeah, now they're in. And now they're not going to take much damage. ACCM has to react with quick walls. With a quick market. With a quick fortified church so we can garrison. The Shinbei Raiders just ran into. And this is a nice raid as Liereyy goes up 15 vils as he's just about to hit Imp. That's not a quick GG from ACCM. It is. There we are. He thought for a second. He thought for a second before calling it.
Yeah, I mean, it just felt like ACCM didn't have a great plan that game, which is so unlike him. But it's like, okay, you went for Men-at-Arms, you sort of had-ish an even early game, but then Lierey's going to get super far ahead in economy. You need to do something. And just trying to go for some Cav Archers when it's worse for your Civ, and Liereyy already has like a natural advantage, just doesn't make any sense.
What do you think ACCM's chances are of taking a game against Liereyy this set? Because I think of all the players ACCM faces, Liereyy is probably the one who gives him the most problems, even more than Hera.
Yeah, it seems like someone said in my chat earlier that he was 2-11 against Liereyy. That's a pretty rough matchup.
Yeah, that's a 56 to 25 KD. And eco smoother for Liereyy. Nothing really in question there.
The Orlu Kawasan award for my least favorite map in the tournament. It's Ring Nomad.
Ring Nomad? You don't like Ring Nomad?
I do not like Ring Nomad. Nothing against your map scripting. I just don't think it works very well conceptually.
Oh, that's not my map. That's just, it's there.
Yep.
So, Ring Nomad. ACCM's home map. And before I look at the civs, I would guess it's Dravidians against Chinese. But let's see, how wrong am I?
Oh, you're so smart.
Oh, I was right.
Handsome.
I swear I didn't even look at that. Like, if he's not using Chinese on Kilimanjaro, they have to be on Ring Nomad.
Yeah. Why is Liereyy only 2300 ELA? Because he doesn't play ranked.
Get the hill, win the game. Kilimanjaro isn't playing in a different way. Yeah, I think that's fair. We did try to put a few more golds and stones on the outside of the hill compared to the version that's on that's in DE right now. But I don't think there's anything other than win the hill, win the game.
I mean, yeah, it's just kind of how the map is designed, which is fine, right? I do think it's weird that it's a semi-open map.
Well, it's not open, and it's not closed. I don't know where else you'd put it.
I just put it in the open map category.
Now, you're too far apart to be an open map, with how you can wall and everything.
I don't know, we still saw the Men-at-Arms rush.
Yeah, but, like, you can go Men-at-Arms rush on Black Forest, and that's a closed map.
I mean, you can do whatever your heart desires. You can go FC on Socotra, even though all your resources are forward, and it makes no sense to do so.
You can. And go FC as Koreans and not build a single guard tower on your only stone.
No, you only have 700 stone. You need it for the castle. You can't... I had specifically built just enough segments of wall that I knew I had just enough stone.
Yeah, you knew you had exactly 652 stone.
What? I mean, I knew I had enough stone because I had built, 6 segments of wall?
Yeah, when you placed that castle as your stone was running out, you had 652 stone. Another 2 stone, and you would not have afforded that castle. That was perfectly calculated.
I mean, I knew I was close, but See, I couldn't have built a tower there. I wouldn't have had enough for a castle.
If you built the tower, you wouldn't have needed to sell stone at the market because you were managing your eco later. You also sold 100 stone at the market.
I did. Well, I need to get to Castle Age, man. I didn't have any Feudal Age army. Oh, is it a Liereyy? I think it's time for a Liereyy.
Oh, I see a restarted lobby.
Yeah, ACCM can't access his Shorefish.
What? Really?
Yeah.
My game didn't launch, so I didn't see that.
Oh.
What do you mean he can't access the
ACCM,
Shorefish?
Yeah, you can see it on my stream if you want.
Let me tab over. Let me find where the browser is.
The Shorefish
Play.
is 1 tile away from the shoreline.
What? Now that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so there were patches like that I had fixed, but I guess not all of them are completely fixed then. All right. That's interesting. At least it's like, you see it right away. Because like, you're not going to be able really to tell that before you do the dock, but...
Yeah.
That's fair to read. Okay, well, there's still bugs like that. It's a weird thing that there are bits of beach terrain in the middle of the lake.
Why?
That's just how it generates. Sometimes when you take lands and you put them together, it like puts singleton tiles of terrain in spots you don't expect. And he could actually transport over there and build a dock next to the Shorefish if he wanted to.
Huh.
Or where there was at least one tile where he could disembark and stand next to that Shorefish. That's why the Shorefish only spawn adjacent to the beach terrain. And for some reason, due to some AoE2 oddities, there are singleton tiles of Shorefish occasionally in those ponds. And I fixed some of those cases where I really have some hacks to remove the singleton tiles of beach terrain in the ponds, but apparently sometimes it still happens. That one was probably so close to the other beach terrain that I wasn't able to remove it.
Well, there's always an oddity here and there.
Yeah, but fair enough to restart there.
Yeah.
Liereyy also changed his color to green. I'm just going to keep him as red, so we're consistent.
That's fine.
Hello, Noob Nitram.
All right, Take Two Interactive Studios. What we'll have here on Ringo Bad, the barbell map. We'll have ACCM as the Cyan Chinese to the south, and Liereyy.
Can he reach the Shorefish? I think so.
I think he can, but that is a bad TC, I think.
Yes. What?
Thank you for your hard-hitting analysis, T. West. That's why I love casting with you.
Well, I gave the players a sheep on the shoreline so that they could scout. And I also guaranteed that there would be somewhere along the shore a wood line that is TCable. Okay, Liereyy can reach his Shorefish. Look at that little tile of the beach extending out to the dock. That's cute.
It's a little sandbar, you know?
Yeah.
Gotta go out, go fishing. Get your feet wet. What the funny thing is, I gotta say, is that Liereyy actually has a better TC spot than ACCM does, because he can TC like between the woodline and the forage bushes over to the left. And that would be like a really sick TC spot.
Yeah, but I mean, he'll get a lumber camp up. So okay, so doing a lumber camp this early is horrible because you're sacrificing a fishing ship for it.
Yeah. I mean, ACCM himself cannot get a fish out because he's Chinese and he doesn't have as much starting resources. But, yeah, I mean, it's definitely not the sort of thing you're looking for here. Chinese, I never really know how good Chinese are on these 9-vil start maps. I just kind of assume that they're incredible on any 9-vil start map. Is there anything about this version of Nomad in particular that makes them so good, other than you just build the dock right away?
I don't think so. I think they're just, in general, a good Nomad civ for 9-vil start maps. I'd probably prefer them for land Nomad over a watery Nomad, because when they don't need to do the dock, they can do like a mill right away, and it's not as much wood they're spending when they already start with less wood. But they're still great. The fact that ACCM has less idle TC than Liereyy does, and he's the Chinese with 3 extra vills is amazing.
Well, I think the idea with when you get the dock down, and we see the exact same dynamic on Murkwood, or actually on Edwin's as well, is that because you can get your food income right away on a 9 bill start, you just send 3 bills or 2 bills, I guess, here to gather food. So you just have that minimal idle TC time, and then suddenly you're ahead by a couple bills.
Yeah, the only thing that I think puts the Chinese back behind Dravidians here would be they don't get the fishing ships out as quickly. But with Liereyy needing to do that lumber camp, then, well, he's behind by a fishing ship himself, so.
Yeah. Especially since Dravidians also get that extra housing space, and Dravidians themselves are going to be an excellent civ for this map. It's not like it's a civ win, GG easy move or anything like that.
And then ACCM has been picking this as his home map, so I know he's comfortable playing it. I know he had messaged me about the shorefish thing a while ago, and I thought I had fixed it, but apparently not. Apparently there are still cases where it bugs out. Good old AoE2 maps. Always full of surprises.
Oh my, yes. Did you notice on the Socotra game yesterday I played, my opponent had 2 back golds, and I had only forward resources?
Yep. That was lovely.
Yeah. Why isn't ACCM just garrisoning in the dock to attack the transport ship?
I mean, 70 hit points. It's going to take a long time to shoot that down, right?
Try and force it away.
Now, the way we're in the previous game, they're banned now.
Oh, sorry. That was just for a second lumber camp here.
All right, second lumber camp. Wait, well, I mean, the TC is in the middle of nowhere. Usually you'd have a TC in 1 lumber camp, so now he has 2 woodlines. And 4 vills.
That's true, but with now 19 villagers on the resource, you would expect Liereyy to now start to much more heavily invest into the water. And we'll have to see if he's going to come in with a second dock.
Now, as the Dravidians, perhaps more than any other save, it might be worth it because you get the pop space to dock block the shallows to keep your fish safe.
Yeah, I'm really surprised we don't see that more. I think we were casting, and we both had the same conclusion there, that we're surprised we don't see it a bit more often.
And thank you, Flogi Modding, for the sub to Orlu.
For 46 months. 31-month streak.
It's always confusing when, like, Twitch gives you different numbers.
Yeah, because, like, I just happened to see the 31 first, but the important one's the 46 months, which is, to be fair to Twitch, in bold, but, you know, I'm a little dumb sometimes.
You were able to calculate 652 stone, though, yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, my brain works in mysterious ways. All I knew is I made 5 tiles of stone, and with 700 left, I knew I had enough for a castle.
So both these players going to do a barracks and archery range right next to each other and not actually scout how close they are. Whoever gets there, or once the ranges go up, they'll see each other. But this is going to be a very, very close army production situation.
And both players are training hulks. That said, Liereyy is going to be on a second dock here in just a moment, so it feels like, you know, you have even resources, but Lierey's sort of able to do everything he wants. He's getting a blacksmith down. He has the second dock. Actually, remember that for some reason, your free resources as Dravidians and Ethiopians don't count as resources collected, which I always find kind of weird. Oh, nice.
Oh, Liereyy with the quick walls. ACCM trying to escape. And, well, as the Dravidians, you'd think Liereyy would have the better skirms, so probably favored in this fight.
Oh, saves the villager, though, to say... Oh, but he loses the archer. That's even worse.
Yeah, at this point, well, I mean, with skirms coming out, maybe the archer isn't that important. But at this point, all the military units are going to start to add up.
Yeah,
there's the archer, but ACCM losing the skirm.
It just feels like Lierey's a little bit ahead in most respects. That said, this is a 2-to-1 Hulk fight here at the side for ACCM. Liereyy does have 2 more fishing ships than his opponent, though. And it feels like with both players having the production right next to each other, the fact that Liereyy is ahead in army is going to be a huge advantage.
Yeah, things are going to snowball really quickly because now there's no safe place for ACCM to ungarrison. Do you think you could get... Oh, Lierey's going to wall us in? Could you get away with towering here?
I think
like right
you
by the
should,
ranges.
Oh man, ACCM screwing up his micro. He's leaving two low HP Hulks alive, and now Liereyy is going to try and sail to safety with those. And if you can get them near the dock, then suddenly you can take a lot of damage. Lierey's trying to wall in the archery range, and this is just looking like it's getting out of hand really fast.
And Liereyy actually almost succeeding at walling in the range.
I mean, it's just all execution here, and it is all favoring Liereyy. Again, you need to be paying better attention. The Hulks are attacking every single wrong Hulk.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that low HP Hulk there could have killed 2 of Lierey's Hulks, but nope. Liereyy survives with 3 very, very low Hulks.
Yeah. Lierey's micro, you could say, is too good for ACCM, but we're also on a map where that's all that matters, is just having the better early game micro.
Is there another way to play this map? I know we saw... Who was Viper against? He tried to... Was that Mihai, where he tried to fast castle on this map and just got destroyed?
I feel like the feudal age aggression's almost always better on this map.
Yeah. Kind of weird to have a Nomad map where that's the case. I feel like for the most part, I kind of favor the castle age these days on a watery Nomad. Especially.
Well, it's just the rush distance is so close on both land and water.
Yeah, it's like Nomad, but you're super close, basically, this map.
Yeah. And it's also not really Nomad because you build your TC in basically the same spot every single time.
Yeah. I guess when the map was first designed, there were maybe hopes players would go to the top or like to the bottom right, but it's pretty much always straight to the middle.
Yeah, there really is no... Yeah, it's fixed position, but a Nomad start. That's exactly how it is. Good quick walls there from ACCM, but he's still behind on water. And the issue is, if you're behind in a Hulk battle, you can't really just like add in 1 or 2 galleys and it be very effective. It's not really how that works.
Now, ACCM adding in a stable for scouts to try to deal with skirms. His archery range is completely walled in. Oh man, that hurts.
Also, Lierey's going to click up the castle age right now. A demo. What is a demo? Never heard of it.
MBL pull it. Oh, did MBL pull off an FC against Mihai? I don't know if I casted that set.
Regardless, it feels much less consistent than doing this.
Yeah, I guess part of it's also the resource distribution because your wood lines are so close to the water. A tower feels a bit stronger on this map than it would on maybe other Nomad maps too. Okay, just because you don't really have a place to run if you lose your TC wood line.
Yeah. No idea. Hulks are going to try and snipe some fishing ships, but this feels like it might be too little too late.
Yeah. This is... Oh, they do get 1. But this is part of what I think makes the water so snowbally now, is that once you lose water, we're seeing this here, the fishing ships from Liereyy Garrison and ACCM basically can't counterattack.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like the game was decided in that early feudal age when it was fighting with the archery ranges and barracks and villagers all right next to each other, and then the Hulk fight on the water that Liereyy microed better on both sides. And now Lierey's going to be able to get to castle age right now. He can drop a forward siege workshop, and it feels like ACCM is super dead.
So what destroys fishing ships the fastest now? Is it the Hulks?
Hulks and fire ships both destroy fishing ships super fast.
Yeah,
galleys are the slowest easily, but you can range with them.
Yeah, but galleys now take 10 arrows instead of 6 to destroy the fishing ships, so they're a lot slower than they used to be. And fires now are the fastest against docks by a good margin.
Oh, by an enormous margin. Just trying to be a little bit annoying with the Scout Cavalry. Again, like, this is all sort of a formality at this point.
Oh, can demos one-shot fishing ships still?
Yeah, they can do that.
Okay. I was thinking about that, because that's something you used to see on Canberra. Like, you'd have all those fishing ships on one fish, someone would lose the water, but then you'd make one demo to snipe them.
But because the way the damage radiates with demo ships from, like, the center, is that your damage is in practice a lot lower because damage falls off like much more quickly, right?
Yeah.
So you probably cannot snipe as many fishing ships.
Yeah. Well, actually, the damage value on the demo ship that it reads if you hover over or click on it, you never actually do that much damage because that's at the very center of the ship. But because the ship itself has like a radius, you're never actually doing that damage where the target's exactly at the center of the ship. It's always at the edge of the ship, so it's fallen off a bit by the time the damage is applied.
Yeah. Exactly. Liereyy is just so solid in every aspect. Mechanically, yes. And the thing is, if you're going to be solid in anything in AoE 2, it better be your mechanics, because that will win you so many games.
And scale barding armor for ACCM, who's going to go double stable knights right now. And as much as things have been kind of awful for him, to be fair, he's down by 5 vils, and it's only like 1.5 res collected. He could maybe get a couple of knights out, and then maybe make something happen if Liereyy makes a mistake. But that's pretty unlikely.
Well, down 1.5k res collected is like 15% at this point, which is enormous. ACCM
It's enormous, but it's not like 3k.
Just trying to go double stable knights. I mean...
But he's still against feudal archers. There's no crossbow upgrade. Yeah, imagine Liereyy mangonels his own archers there. The knights destroy 3 mangonels.
I want some of what you're on, T-West, with that high-grade topium.
Well, maybe I've just casted too much of your games yesterday.
Yeah. Nah, these guys are a little bit better than me. Just a little bit.
We need elephant ships. We do have elephant ships. Put 20 elephants in a transport, and it turns into an elephant transport.
Indeed. Also known as an elaport.
Okay, so ACCM with only 1 armor on the knights and no bloodlines. Even the feudal archers with bodkin are still sniping them down quite easily. And now ACCM will be 0 TC gaming, as he has a couple of towers up in his eco. But now that 5 vil deficit is turned into a 16 vil deficit. And now he's basically dead.
Yeah, I mean, it's just neither of these games have really felt like actual AoE games because Lierey's so far ahead from early feudal age that it's like there really isn't anything for ACCM to do.
Yeah, I had that feeling watching Liereyy versus ACCM in Red Bull, and I think Empire Wars is even more heavily favored for Liereyy, but it felt like each one of those games, the Liereyy had won in the first 2 to 3 minutes.
Yep.
And it's not as extreme here, but I'm getting the same vibes.
I mean, if you're just so much better at early execution, the game is going to snowball out of control extremely fast. Anyway, Liereyy just killing towers and stuff. There really isn't a whole lot left to talk about in this game, and there is the GG called, and Liereyy is up 2-0 and is looking to win this series in record time.
Yeah, I mean, ACCM, it's not even 5k score difference, and Lierey's already making him resign. This is peak Liereyy efficiency, and it just feels like ACCM can't quite handle it when he's against Liereyy.
Yeah, it's really tough. I mean, I think we've all been there when you're just against somebody who is a lot better than you at early execution, and you can just feel so helpless.
Yeah. And that's why I feel like ACCM Hera is probably a closer matchup, even though Hera I'd still say he's a heavy favorite, but a closer matchup than ACCM Liereyy. Because as great as Hera is, he doesn't quite have that same execution that Liereyy does in the early game, which ACCM really seems to struggle against.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just one of those things that's just a little too stark of a difference. Looks like we're going to be going to Crownwood next, so that feels like Magyars versus Khmer, Khitans, Portuguese, Burgundians are honestly all pretty good. I mean, my money would be on Khmer, but it's all good. And it's Khitans.
Yeah, I would say it was either Khmer or Khitans for that map. And then you'd have Portuguese for Isthmus and Burgundians for Basmo, if we get there. But that's the thing, too. Even in Red Bull, the games that Liereyy won against Hera felt like he won them in the first few minutes, and the games that Hera won felt like he was behind and coming back somehow after losing the first couple minutes to Liereyy.
Well, it's basically, if Hera didn't die almost immediately, then he would go on to win the game eventually. At some point or another. But if the game ended early, it's just because Liereyy went and killed him.
So Khitans and Magyars, feels like we're going to see a lot of scouts. So this could just be a double stable scouts from both of them. I don't think Liereyy usually plays that style, but what actually matters more here, if we get fully upgraded scouts with bloodlines for Magyars or fully upgraded scouts with double attack for the Khitans without bloodlines?
I feel like against each other, bloodlines is better. I mean, it just is objectively better. Because Frank Scouts and Forging Scouts trade evenly with each other, and that's 54 HP. So having the extra 11 HP with Bloodlines means that you'll still be guaranteed to win. That said, Khitans have faster train speed and a better economy, so it's certainly not like a one-sided matchup.
Yeah, faster train speed and a better economy for the Khitans, and then the cheaper scouts for the Magyars.
All right, everybody, here we are in game number 3. It has been a quick and one-sided set here in favor of this man, Liereyy, in the red as the Khitans to the west, and to the east in the cyan. It's not his tournament life on the line. In fact, he's already guaranteed his spot in the round of 12, at least. It's going to be ACCM in the cyan as the Magyars, yeah.
Yep, and we don't know what the matchups will be, because there's going to be a random draw for the brackets. But here it will be ACCM trying to find a way to hang on against Liereyy, and he picked Crownwood. Basmo was ACCM's next home map, but decided to play on Crownwood, Lierey's home map. Maybe just liking Magyars and wanting to use them, thinking Magyars had an advantage over both Khitans and Khmer, which it seemed like Liereyy would have picked for this map.
It also could be that he has a specific strategy planned for Basmo, and he doesn't want to reveal it considering he's guaranteed to advance anyway. But if he thinks he's not likely going to win against Liereyy regardless, you might even just save Basmo for game 5, so it's only like, okay, if there's actually a chance I can beat Liereyy, I'm going to pull out this strategy I've prepared.
Yeah, and on this map, it is in the open category. We made it even more open by removing the little straggler forests by the TC and placing this Orlu's favorite tournament map feature, the unbuildable rock terrain at the bottoms of the hills, so you can't wall straight to the TC.
Yes, because even when we don't have Land Madness in the draft, or in the map pool, we're like, you know what, this tournament map needs more Land Madness. This map is literally just Land Madness with hills on the trees.
Yeah, now it is. It's an interesting one though, because you are so far apart. And even though, yeah, it's a small circle, but the fact that there's a circle of wood in the middle of the map means you're even farther apart because you have to go around it. And even in Red Bull on Empire Wars, a lot of the times this map was just wall up and boom. And it wasn't all that aggressive, which feels kind of the opposite of how it was kind of intended to be made.
I think part of the reason for that is in Empire Wars, you already start with a lot more infrastructure built up. So it's going to be a lot easier to get yourself walled. Whereas here in RM, especially once they added in the rocky terrain, it's just really hard to defend yourself early on in that slower build-up phase.
Yeah. Yeah, we also had thought about doing that one ring of rock terrain around the outside, but then decided against it.
If there's anything I hate more than rings of rocky terrain around wood lines, it's a ring of rocky terrain around the edges of maps. In Empire Wars, it felt like players were even more in the corners. Maybe.
Slightly, yeah. I did move the players a bit closer to the middle. Not insanely closer, but it was like from a radius of 34 to a radius of 31. Just a tiny bit closer.
Okay.
Yeah. The other thing we did, we also made the number of hills consistent. So the way the map works, there's one hill in the middle, and then there's a circle of hills at the same radius as the player TCs, so 3 on each side. And after that, the map had been filled with essentially there's a minimum distance between hills, and it was filled with as many that would fit. So if you had a team game or played on a larger map size, there were tons of hills, but for a 1v1, depending on the positioning of the players, you could have anywhere from like 11 to 18 hills spawning, depending on how many fit in the corners. So we just made it a fixed number of 1 hill in each corner, so there's 11 total hills on the map.
It's actually really easy to identify which hills are which. It's like the one in the center,
Yep.
and then you see sort of like the 3 on each side making a circle, and then the one in each corner on top.
Yeah, well, once you get it pointed out. If, you know, and like I said, if you had like the team game situation, then it maybe gets a bit more random. But it's one of those maps where there was a new map scripting feature added that is basically a min distance between lands, where they get placed randomly at a min distance. And it's the same way that the pawns on cenotes are placed. That one doesn't have any fixed situation other than it places as many as the map can fit, and then once no more fit, it just places one in the middle. So that's why there's always one in the middle here and on cenotes. Because that's just where the map defaults to placing it.
The more you learn. Well, Feudal Age is in for both players. They are going scouts, you know, doing the open map thing. And it will be sort of that difference between the Ketons having the better eco. We do have Liereyy already with a very quick blacksmith, so normally when we see a scout war, it's like, okay, who's going to jump first and build the archery range? Liereyy already going to be committing more to the cavalry with that blacksmith.
Yeah, and it's against the free forging of the Magyars, so ACCM will take an early advantage in the fight. Have his spears forward. The spears have forging at this point too. Not as important against the scouts as it is against other spears. And a sheep lame too. ACCM gets the sheep.
What a jerk. This is just another example in the long list of reasons why ACCM is the most toxic player in the AoE2 community.
ACCM is not toxic.
I know, it's a joke. I joke because he's actually like one of the nicest human beings ever.
Yeah, he has great fashion sense too.
Oh, yes. Well, just some scouts, some spearmen poking away at each other. Liereyy did not get the pastoralism upgrade, so the pastures actually deplete very quickly. At least that's what it feels like when you don't have those upgrades.
Oh, nice poke from Liereyy.
Yeah.
Who does now have forging, so now his spears are the stronger spears.
And now ACCM has to be super careful. He is not investing into a blacksmith of his own, nor is he investing into an archery range yet. So it's still just all scouts for now. But as ACCM, you just need to recognize that, okay, my scouts are of lower quality.
Yeah, and we have seen on this map the double stable scout play a couple of times. How much does having maybe the extra attack on the spears kind of dissuade that, knowing that your spears are just a tiny bit better against scouts?
Well, it's, with spearmen versus scouts, it really only matters if it changes the hits to kill, because spearmen deal so much damage. And spearmen go from taking 3 hits to kill a scout to taking 3 hits to kill a scout. So I don't think it really matters all that much, unless the scouts have taken other damage here and there, which is certainly very possible.
Yeah, which they do a lot, fighting Vills or fighting other scouts.
Yeah.
I guess it's not as good as, say, the Roman spears, where they'd have double the melee armor and survive extra hits
that's
from
very
scouts.
Different. Yeah. Well, ACCM did snag a villager, but he's been losing scouts, and that's kind of the issue right here for him, is that... Oh, nice snag there, though. Liereyy, the downside to going for the fast forging is that you're behind in scout numbers, but because he took such good fights, he's actually still even in scout numbers and has the better unit, so he's sort of able to have his cake and eat it too. And ACCM is going to need to find a way to take these efficient fights with lower quality units, but there you go. That's what you need to do, ACCM.
Finally, he hits the low HP scout with a spear. A bit of overkill, but he finally gets it. And he's doing Town Watch. That's a lot of spears from Liereyy, who's just 5 spear defense now, doing a mining camp. And if you're Khitans in this matchup, what are you looking for in the Castle Age more? Cav archers or steppe lancers? Or maybe even just pure light cav, if you don't need to move out to gold and can stay on your pastures.
Or camels. I mean, it's...
Oh, that's true. They have camels. Oh, you know what
Khitans
they also
are very
have?
flexible, so.
They also have fire lancers.
They also have fire lancers, indeed. Khitans are a very flexible civ in the mid game. That said, they are pretty weak in the late game, so it balances out.
Yeah, I mean, if you're ACCM in this matchup, And you can get to that late game stage where you have Magyar Hussars and recurve bow cav archers. Then you probably have a really smooth advantage over the Khitans. Up until then, it's a bit trickier.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, that villager picking the wrong day to go to the gold mine, and Liereyy will get that counter kill right there. He's already starting to pull ahead in resources, and Liereyy with his 7 spearmen here to defend. I mean, there just isn't a way that ACCM can find any damage at this point.
He can fight the spears with his scouts and lose all of the scouts. That is...
Oh, I guess that's an option.
An
I don't like
option.
that option, though, T West. I think ACCM should not go for that.
And now he has only 2 scouts. I mean, I don't mind fighting spears if you're like double stable scouts and you're getting to a huge number, say 16 plus scouts, and you can kind of overwhelm them with bloodlines and you have your armor and all the upgrades, but extra strong spears, that was not a good fight. That was a ton of scouts he just lost.
He lost a ton of scouts. He has a poor means of replacing them. And I mean, look at that. This is already getting out of hand. I mean, it already is arguably out of hand. Lierey's going to click up to Castle Age in just a second. He's adding in his archery range. He is not going to be taking any more damage. Khitan's even trained the spearmen faster, which is quite helpful. There is a defensive tower that's coming in, but Liereyy isn't actually the type of player to sell stone at the market to quick up. He much prefers just having an insanely efficient eco.
Yeah, there's an offensive tower that's coming in.
I mean, Liereyy probably thinks the tower is pretty offensive, but I think it's pretty normal. Can't be too mean on it.
Well, Liereyy with the spears will delay the tower enough that he gets his own defensive tower up first.
But, like, here's the thing, is like, this game has already, like, the important phase of the game has already ended. And that ended when Liereyy was able to take the efficient fights and click up to Castle Age.
Yeah.
Now it feels like this is simply too late for it to matter.
Yeah, and I mean, ACCM has maybe a window of going all in feudal while Liereyy spent those resources going up to castle and trying to do damage. But when he lost all of those scouts to the spears and lost the bulk of his army, that window kind of closed on him.
Which is why it was such a rough decision in the first place, especially without a second
Oh,
stable,
no.
especially without...
Oh, it takes 2 more
I look away for
pokes.
1 second, and then I just see 2 scout corpses with Cyan, and I'm like, oh, geez.
Yep. Yeah. And no, I'm seeing something. I noted this when I watched Hera, or whenever I watched him play, or from a couple games I played against him. Whenever he's going scouts, he is never taking a stray poke from a spear. You'll see the spears running to the scouts. There'll be a tile or 2 away, but he's always having the macro to run away. Here, ACCM, he's running into spears now and then. And I don't know if it's maybe mentally he hasn't gotten the right cycle of swapping between scouts and his eco, if he's maybe not paying attention at the right moments. But it's just something's been happening this game where it feels like Lierey's been getting hits with spears now and then that just really shouldn't be there if you're microing the scouts at peak AoE 2 levels that you'll need to be to beat Liereyy.
Well, I think part of it's just the APM. I mean, Liereyy and Hera are a lot faster than old man ACCM. So I think it's just really hard to be able to keep up all of that macro efficiency while also, you know, going forward and making sure you're not taking any damage whatsoever. I mean, that's the reason that almost nobody in the world can do it.
There's a cav archer going down. And it feels like this map is maybe about as standard as you could have played just a scout versus scout opening, and far enough apart where maybe it's a situation where ACCM isn't going to take that brutal early game engagement like we'd seen the past couple of games. But here, it's just Liereyy taking small advantages with scouts, and it's not like there are small advantages on one side than the other and they're going back and forth. It's every small advantage is going Lierey's way.
Yep. All the small engagements, all the small macro efficiencies, everything is going in Lierey's way. And there is simply, you know, once we got to the 12, 13 minute mark, there already was no more advantage for ACCM in this game. I mean, it would require Liereyy making a mistake at this point, and Liereyy just does not make those mistakes because he's pretty good at AoE too.
And now he has cav archers out. And it's crazy seeing how the res collected is still, I mean, it's fairly close, right? It's only 400 resources apart, but 400 resources with how Lierey's managed the economy is he's in the Castle Age, and ACCM has 20 food in the Feudal Age.
Yeah, and I always say that's the superpower of Hera and Liereyy, is that they're always ahead in food collected, and almost always ahead in Castle Age time. Like, it's actually crazy. If we could, like, find a percentage of games where Liereyy or Hera are faster up to Castle Age than their opponent by 30 seconds, I feel like it's way higher than almost any other player.
And especially for Liereyy, how he almost never goes for the market to buy his way up. Because that's pretty much the standard these days. You're selling stone and buying your way up to go up fast. I mean, even the hard AI from the Age of Kings did that. Liereyy just doesn't do it. He doesn't need it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really rough series for ACCM because we know what a good player he is. It's just Lierey's a really bad matchup for him, as Lierey's a really bad matchup against almost everybody. Funnily enough, the one game that Liereyy lost in this tournament was with Ketons on Murkwood to Lewis when Liereyy had one of the least impressive defenses I have ever seen against a fast castle.
And there's a GG from ACCM, and no surprise to see Liereyy win this 3-0. I think that went about how I would have expected it to go. That would be...
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, Liereyy made 7 scouts this game and got 3 villager kills in Feudal Age. ACCM made 30 scouts this game and got 1 villager. Like, that is efficiency.
Yeah. And it'd be interesting to do, like, a deep dive into, like, really, really paying attention to the nuances of Lierey's Feudal Age. Because it's not like there are huge differences between how they're managing their eco, right? It's you're making the scouts, you're putting farms down by your TC as you have wood for it, you're sending villas to a lumber camp that's basically at the same distance for both of them, and yet somehow Liereyy makes 500, like 400 to 500 res collected ahead feel like he's maybe 2,000 res collected ahead.
It just leads to those critical timing advantages, and that is exactly what Liereyy does there. And Liereyy gets the W. He moves on to the quarterfinals, and he will be joining Sebastian, Andy, and the winner of the next set, Viper and TaToH.
Yep. So it's a loss for the Magyars, a win for the Ketons. And remember, one of those quarterfinalists might have the reward of facing Hera early on, because Hera did get swept by Sebastian.
That was one of the stranger series I have ever seen.
It was. It's like it felt like Hera had basically won game 1, then went ballista elephants and suddenly lost.
Well,
and then after that,
he won game number 1 and then decided to not do anything with his advantage and not spend his resources.
Yeah. I don't know if it's too much Warcraft.
I didn't even feel like it was too much Warcraft. It just felt like Hera was really unfocused, which is, again, so atypical of Hera.
I mean, that might be too much Warcraft. That might just be other stuff
I guess
going on.
might be too much Warcraft, but...
Yeah. But anyway, we're going to have another set coming up soon. It's going to be Viper versus TaToH.
Now, you say soon. I
45
feel like
minutes,
that's
I guess.
a little bit misleading.
I'll update my stream title already.
Oh, I mean, I'm ready to just jump into the next set, but...
Also, what colors do we use? Yellow for Viper and red for TaToH?
I mean, yeah, that's usually what they go with.
As Kevin Hart likes to say, damn. Yeah, that is... I mean, Liereyy... I mean, Liereyy does that to ACCM, but, I mean, the impressive thing about the Red Bulls finals was Liereyy basically did the same thing to Hera repeatedly, and then Hera still found ways to win games.
Yeah. But it takes somebody with the macro and the willpower, so to say, of Hera to even try and come back from that.
Will the next set start now? The next set will start whenever Viper and TaToH are around. I mean, maybe they saw ACCM and Liereyy, and they probably had the idea it would be a fast set, but also the it is a best of 5, so having it done in 90 minutes is extremely fast. So I'm guessing probably at the top of the hour it will start.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Hopefully, they are just on standby. Like, as a tournament organizer, one would just kind of hope that, all right, here's a $70,000 prize pool tournament. You're supposed to be around most of the day, or at least, shortly after the first series.
Yeah. And it is nice that we only have 2 sets per day. So it's not like you're the 4th set and there's a huge variability in
exactly
when that might happen. So it's only 70k, and it is a 1v1 event, so the players won't have to split up the prize pool.
It is still a fairly egalitarian prize pool. 14,000 for first place is actually not much at all for a $70,000 tournament. So even the 13th through 16th players are still getting $1,500 for their hard work.
Yeah, which is still pretty good, but it's also there's a lot of people who kind of want prize pools to be spread out more, but when you start spreading them out, you very quickly realize how the number of players per round increases exponentially, and it gets spread very thinly very quickly.
Yep, but this is still only a 16-player tournament. If it was, 32 players, then that would be getting pretty rough pretty quickly.
So Viper TaToH, 2 former teammates who now are again Onamaru teammates.
The former and present teammates.
Yes, the former and present teammates. There was a moment when TaToH was not yet on Onamaru, so...
Yep. Well, I'm gonna get some more coffee, T-West. I'll be right back.
Alright. Do we have time for an AoE 2 grid while we wait? Does Orlu have a grid? I haven't done any grids. So let me just give also a shout out over to Memb for hosting this. He's likely interviewing Liereyy right now, so shout out to Memb. Go give him a follow if you're not already. Orlu already did the grid. I should try a Pokidoku. I don't know what that is. Have I seen Age... Is that an I or an L? Age Die? Age Dill? I don't know. I have not. An L. I don't really do grid things though. I have no experience at grids. I enjoy flex boxes. No one enjoys flex boxes. I'm just looking at the schedule for today. It is 16:33 GMT. At 21 GMT, there's USA Cup, Daniel versus Yellow Jacket. I'm debating if I stay online to cast that. And then at 1 GMT, there's more USA Cup. God's Prisoner versus Scotty. Maybe I could just take a break and then cast Rex and then cast the 1 GMT set. Or I could cast all of them as Rex before T90 tomorrow at 22:30 GMT. Maybe that's what I'll do. Have a good USA Cup Monday cast. And Plato Ghost, thank you very much for the raid. Welcome in, everyone. Orlu's getting some coffee. We're going to co-cast with him in a bit. And we're just going to wait for Viper and TaToH to start their set. There'll probably be a bit of time between sets. Let's see, Hera's playing Warcraft today. Maybe one day I'll have to play Warcraft, but I never experimented with it. I'll have to play StarCraft too one day. But hello, Plotter, hello everyone, welcome in with the raid. Thank you very much. And I'm getting pinged on Discord. What's this ping? Oh, someone else just went live. Oh, Plotter's part of the Exalted DM team that took down the French.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. You can't just say the F word like that on stream.
It's okay. We can say it when they lose.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Wes, what is your opinion of not doing the Civ draft until you finish the interview and then watch the Civ draft live?
Don't like it. I don't think watching a draft live is interesting.
At all. I think the drafts are good in terms of it's a skill that players need to develop, and it leads to a greater variety of civilizations being played than we would see otherwise. That said, we don't need to see it live.
I kind of feel like I don't like when sets are won because someone drafted better. And I feel that it doesn't actually lead to more civs, because we basically see the Kawasan-like map with hybrid civs repeatedly, over and over. And I think that makes it less interesting.
But isn't that an issue of the maps?
It is, but it's also kind of the issue of that's what a lot of the standard S-tier maps are these days, right? And it's kind of an issue of map pool selection.
And again, that feels like it's an issue of all the
as
tournaments having the same looking map pool.
As Piggy Platypus writes, it leads to a greater diversity of civs making skirms in CA. It leads to a greater diversity of skirms and hulks.
Which, again, credit to you and Brazilian Dynasty. I feel like that had one of the better map pools, and I feel like we had some very high-quality games in that qualifier.
Yeah, that was crazy. I threw that together in, like, 1 week.
You know, sometimes that's just how a lot of good stuff happens.
Well, I'm excited to see it in person. We had freaking Celts as the #1 pick.
Well, Holland Sudden Disaster, I'd like when tournaments have almost entirely new map pools. Or either, if the map pools aren't entirely new, you're using maps that are so accepted as good and diverse, like Arabia or Arena, or, you know, Black Forest, where it's like, they're so accepted as good maps that they're just sort of archetypical, in fact.
Honestly, King of the Desert was my... Oh, look at that, Lieutenant Dan coming in with the gift subs for Orlu. I have to scroll up to see how many it is. That's 25 Tier 1 subs to Orlu.
What Lieutenant Dan lacks in legs, he makes up for in gifted subs.
That's what I said. You gotta promote Lieutenant Dan to Lieutenant Commander Dan.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much, Lieutenant Dan. That's incredibly generous of you. And welcome to the Wolfpack. I'm sorry, T. West. Mo, Spoogan, Paizoid, Luxus, Addictive Me, Red Can Sky, Not Opus, Bullizan, El Moon, Fake News, Serta, Francis, Mesa, Kingoni, The James Park, Torpenow, Kritchner, Kick, Mr. Nexus, Drozen, Lanini, Mario, Libertarian Karl Marx, Josra, Stuffing Farts, and Swiss Pola.
Libertarian Karl Marx.
Okay, that's a great name.
That's a very Orlu's chat name.
That is. That absolutely is.
That's why you gotta love when the Orlu chat names are Orlu stream appropriate. My favorite thing was that time I turned on your stream once and I got an ad, and the ad was a PSA for don't park your car on the train tracks.
Oh no! I swear I've never done that, man.
Actually, that happened recently, like maybe a year or so ago. I was reading news from my hometown. They have a train station that runs through there. Someone was on the train tracks. They got out of the car and no one was hurt, but the train just rammed their SUV because they were on the tracks.
Oh my goodness. Again, deep dish pizza is good, but I only want it like once or twice a year. Tavern style pizza, that's the real Chicago pizza right there.
Also, I don't know if you pay attention to AoE 4, but there's an AoE 4 tournament going on right now.
Oh, I don't pay attention to AoE 4 whatsoever.
Yeah, it's their NAC style apartment cup, their homestead cup.
Well, I hope they have lots of fun.
So you have these drafts started yet?
Yes. No. Well, like,
no.
In theory.
Is KP hosting it? No, he's not. I think he was streaming it. But he's not hosting
Who's
it.
KP? I don't think he exists anymore. That name has been purged from the scrolls.
No, I think he's back.
Oh, is he uncancelled?
I mean, I've seen him streaming AoE 4 recently.
Okay, okay. AE4 is a mystery. I mean, like, it's an RTS game and people enjoy it, so like I'm not gonna hate on people for liking something. But to me, whenever I did anything with AoE 4, the question was, why am I not playing AoE 2?
Yeah. It was... Well, like, my feelings of AoE 4 are, as a multiplayer game, you can go through the motions of playing an RTS. But as a single-player game, oh my gosh, those campaigns were awful.
Oh, yes. I still think it was one of the better videos I ever made, was like a 40-minute takedown of the campaigns.
Yeah. I remember people from Forgotten Empires were messaging me before it came out about how bad the campaigns were, and I was like, they can't really be this bad. And then I played them and like, I can't even stream the rest of these. I would make better content by licking my microphone.
Well, I mean, I know there's a certain clientele that would pay a lot of good money to watch you do that. Like, even AoE 3 has a very popular time frame that isn't done by another, part of the AoE franchise, and the graphics still hold up quite well in it. And,
I mean, the remasters of the remasters, especially. I mean, even the original versions of AoE 3 and AOM look better than
absolutely
than AoE 4. That's something about Age of Mythology that I note that it very distinctly does not look like a crappy mobile game. And because of that, it aged very well, despite the very low polygon count and low resolution textures.
3D graphics were a mistake for the AoE franchise? I mean, I don't think AoE needs the 3D graphics, but like I said, I don't think there's really any issue with AOM or AoE 3 graphics.
Yeah. Well, I think AOM used the graphics very well by having a 3D camera in the campaigns for telling a story. But in terms of actual gameplay, the 3D graphics have absolutely no effect on an RTS.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what... Did you ever play, Orlu, the Lord of the Rings video games at the time the movies came out? Yep. Yeah. Do you remember the cutscenes where it would transition from movie footage to in-game footage?
Yeah, that was
really neat. That was what I was expecting from the AoE 4 documentary footage, that the documentary would somehow relate to the gameplay.
No. And then the gameplay was on literally a completely different balance than...
Yeah, that too.
So it's like anything that you try and learn with like how the civs worked in multiplayer literally didn't apply in the campaigns.
Yeah, I remember they had swapped the Mangudai from the Mongols. It was between the stable and the archery range. It was in one building in the campaigns and another in multiplayer. So I was playing team games with Lidicor, and he told me to make Mangudai, so I make 3 of the wrong building, and there's no Mangudai. Oh, that was fun.
Oh man.
So, well, what do you think?
Saturated in low contrast? Isn't it oversaturated?
I don't know, it's just bad.
That's true. Did you ever play the Battle for Middle-earth games, though?
I never
Those
did.
were a lot of fun.
You know, I played a lot of Rise of Nations.
I never played that one.
It was a really good one. It was... The Cold War campaign, I remember, was fun because you had Spec Ops missions you could go on with just like a very small number of units, and you had to do stealth missions. And it was a
cool.
weirdly actual fun implementation of it in an RTS. Because it was like a grand strategy campaign, but kind of like how Total War, you would have the overall map and then actual battles in like kind of 2 different engines. That's how the campaigns were set up.
Yeah, they had something like that in Battle for Middle-earth that was a lot of fun. But I think that was basically made, like, I think that was the Rise of Nations people making it.
It would make sense then if it's similar.
Yeah. Empire Earth. I actually never really played many RTSs at all.
Yeah. I played Star Trek Armada. That was fun.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to talk about how to design ship combat with boarding, you could board and capture enemy ships. Every ship didn't just have HP and shields, it had a crew. And when you destroyed the shields, you could transport your crew to their ship and take it over.
Yeah, I keep on hearing about the BFME Reforged, but it just seems like it's always in development.
Yeah. Rise of Nations advanced through the ages too quickly. That's a weird balance, because you need to go from Stone Age to Modern Age in the course of one single game. And I don't know how you can ever do that in an AoE 2, like, 40-minute multiplayer game and not feel too quick while also doing it quickly enough.
Yeah.
It's a hard balance to strike.
That's why Civ games take like 10 years to do.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, the Battle for Middle-earth campaigns were fantastic.
Alright, yeah, so these are the drafts, I believe, but they still don't have anything started yet. Like
No,
I never played
because-
Supreme Commander. I think Rise of Nations was excellent apart from the actual combat. It felt too clunky. I'm gonna have to revisit it someday. I know that there was a re-release on Steam, but that was made by, or that was worked on by Skybox Labs, which is the same company that worked on the HD edition for AoE 2 after they took over for Hidden Path. So I have my doubts about the quality of that. And I have the Rise of Nations. I actually have 2 copies of the CD because my dad had played Rise of Nations all the time, so much so that he broke the CD and had to get a second one. But it's like, it's so old that I need to figure out how to get it running. It's like Age of Mythology, there's some like DRM on the disc that doesn't comply with Windows nowadays, so you need to hack around to get it running. So I need to figure out how to get the actual Rise of Nations and not the Steam re-release running. Guys,
Maybe there's like a fan patch or something.
there probably is. Who knows? Maybe I can just ask an AI and the AI can patch it for me these days.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I was thinking of? Did you see that video popping up the other day? That there are no hard multiplayer games?
No, I didn't. I guess I need to spend more time on YouTube.
It was on the Reddit. It was one of those like very well edited videos that basically says like auto farm is good.
What?
Yeah, it's it's one of those videos. I'm sure you would completely disagree with it, like I do, but it's one of those videos that gets like popular because it's very well edited, right?
Yeah.
But it made me think of Lego Rock Raiders. Did you ever look at Manic Miners? I think I told you about that.
Yeah, you did, and my friend told me to play it, but I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah, but it is someone just basically, it's a fan-made remake of Lego Rock Raiders, which is in, I think, the Unreal Engine, and it is freaking amazing. It's if you don't know what it is, Lego Rock Raiders was basically an RTS game. Like in the 90s, Lego didn't streamline like their video games like they have now, where it's kind of copy and pasted the same thing over and over. There's a lot of experimentation from different companies. And this was an RTS game where you had to select little Lego minifigures and have them mine and collect ore and energy resources. And there were different ways to play it. You could actually go, it was a fully, it was released like within a month of AoE 2, and it was a fully 3D engine where you could go into first person mode and run around in the caves yourself and control the Lego people and mine the rocks and carry the ores yourself. But there were like different levels of automation where you could go into first person mode and do everything yourself, or you could individually click on workers and assign them tasks, or you could have them automate and like auto do the tasks. And I realized when I was playing the remaster that at a certain size, the game basically turns into a different game where instead of individually assigning workers, you're basically just managing the auto tasks. And that's not nearly as much fun.
Yeah, that's not fun.
Is that it wasn't designed for the scale of like what you can do now in a remaster. So there's a certain difficulty in managing your population when it gets that high. I guess the analogy would be that having it all done automatically is the only way you can do everything in a timely manner. But it also changes the gameplay
because you're going to run
so
out of
much.
air eventually.
Well, that's only if you're dumb and you don't make enough support stations to support the air, Orlu. Come on.
Yeah, but I was pretty dumb. I think you don't... I really respect just how dumb of a kid I was at times.
Alright, well, we have some maps drafted now.
We do.
Oh, Lowland. Well, it's a good thing we fixed that. I fixed that yesterday.
What was the issue?
It didn't have the subtracted pop like it should. Let me just check that myself once more. Or not the pop, but the resources. They didn't have minus 90 food and minus 30.
Oh, okay.
So now it's
I thought you were
fixed.
talking about the game between TaToH and Classic Pro, where TaToH had like Black Forest on his side and Classic Pro had Atacama on his side.
Oh no, I meant that they both had extra food and wood at the start. But it applied to both players, so it wasn't like unfair. Maybe the Chinese benefit a bit more. But I guess the Gajuras also have an awkward start, so it probably helps them a lot too.
Yeah, that at least balances out.
Yeah. So, but it is fixed now. Yeah, imagine someone not saying it and using the food advantage. We could admin lost that because there's a don't use the bugs clause in the handbook.
Indeed. Can't be sneaky like that. Oh, we're starting the Civ draft finally. It's so exciting.
All right. So does Viper ban? Is Viper gonna ban Saracens because they're a TaToH Civ, but even though they don't really apply to the map pack?
Maybe, I don't know. The thing that's cool with Saracens is that they always feel like you can play them if you want to, but you never really have to play them.
You play them if you want to. If only the ranked map queue were like that.
Yeah. I would even settle for different map categories. Like, the map pool right now is awful, and I literally only like playing Arena.
Well,
there are
that's
other.
that's
maps
what
I
I
could
feel
play.
about every single map pool.
Some are better than others. The map pool right now is like actually terrible.
Yeah. I think the good map pool is when you get Arabia Arena, Runestones, so it's basically a second Arabia, and then some other map that's not awful, and you can ban 3 maps, and then you can play
Yep.
1v1s.
I mean,
Maybe
it used
like
to be
Hideout.
TaToH was like the runestones of the days of yore, but then they had to go
Yeah.
and ruin it.
Yeah, they changed cenotes, actually putting sinkholes with ponds in them.
And now you just fish boom every game.
Yeah. Oysters. I like that we have options of doing the oysters and whales. I just think you gotta be careful not to overdo it. And just kind of like shoehorning gold in the water into all existing maps is probably not the way to go about it, like they have done in all the DE maps now. Like you play Migration or Islands and there are whales. And that really changes things when you have a map like Migration that's focused on middle control for the resources, but then you can just ignore that and take the whales.
I mean, it really does change the build orders quite a bit.
Why don't we have a map with only oysters? So no fish and only oysters? I guess we could have that somewhere. No one's made one. You can here. Exclamation mark
Be the change you want to
RMS.
see in the world.
Yeah, be the change you want to see in the world.
Oh, what do you know? It's the way in the Bengalis.
It's not double way though.
No, it's not. Bengalis are super good though as well.
With Glade Arena, Hideout, Hill Fort, Arabia, and make a random, Pan Arabia, and make a random.
Now that would be something.
That's still only 6 maps. We'll need Fortress, and they'll finally make it Regicide.
Yes.
And they won't make it an extra size too large.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Oh yeah,
Plus,
that'd
bring
be...
back Fortress with lakes on it.
No, don't do that. But that would be a great map pool. Arabia, Runestones, Arena, Regicide Fortress, and then 3 maps you can ban. Then I'd actually be able to play 1v1s.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, that's true. Dravidians are banned, so Viper won't have Dravidians. I mean, TaToH's draft feels amazing with Wei Persians and Malay. I think so far I'm really liking TaToH's draft more than Viper's.
I don't think I've ever seen TaToH have a bad draft, ever.
Yeah, but this just feels like 3 civs that could have been the #1 pick.
Absolutely.
How do you feel about Georgians? I feel that Georgians are a weird civ to take with a high pick, because I feel like they can be like a 2nd tier civ on a lot of maps, but I don't feel they're like a 1st tier civ on any map.
They're just very powerful, but not, I think, like a default pick anywhere.
Oh, and then Spanish
Which is why
for
a lot of
TaToH.
people think they're balanced, but that's a different story.
And then what civ did TaToH just pick, Orlu?
The Franks. I don't know. I don't know them.
The Franks? What year is it? Is it 2026? Did we go back in time to like 2021? Is that a
I think we might
misclick?
have.
Is that a misclick from TaToH? I don't know. Usually he has
Especially
pretty good
because-
micro.
Especially because the other side, the number 5 pick, is the better Franks.
What civ did he just pick again, Orlu?
In the year of our Lord Doubt 2026 Franks and Teutons.
All right. Why do Dravidians get banned? Because they're good.
Yep.
That's They are amazing for Murkwood, and what's that water map? Pacific Islands? Yeah, they. So Pacific Islands, if it went late game, it feels like Theresidae might dominate any other civ. We kind of saw that in that Andy Vinchester set on Shorelines. You get Theresidae, and there aren't many civs who have an option for dealing with them.
Well, fire ships are still super good against them. It's just when you get to, like, Theresidae
with anything else, right? That's the problem. If it's purely one unit, sure, you can deal with it, but that's not what we'd see. And then on Murkwood, the Nomad start. Yeah, Theresidae versus turtle ships, how does that work?
The turtle ships crush them. Turtle ships literally are efficient versus every other ship in Imperial Age.
That's what I thought.
There is not a single ship in the game that is cost efficient versus turtles.
But yeah, then on Murkwood, they also have an amazing Nomad start with the dock and the wood that they get. So I think they were. We saw Liereyy pick them on Ring Nomad, and if you have a water version of Nomad, so not African clearing, but a water version of Nomad, then Dravidians are really strong. And Stark saying Franks versus Mapuche on Skakuza to see who is greedier on berries.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to see some Maris get Mari'd, man. Because Mari.
Okay, so that's interesting though. Franks on Skakuza, there are a lot of berries, and if you're picking Franks, you could conceivably go scouts with berries and ignore the hunt.
It is possible. Oh wow, we are jumping right into game number 1. I think they might have messed this up without having a spec delay.
They don't have a spec delay. They might need to restart.
I can take the opportunity to set up the scoreboard.
Would you prefer TaToH in red or in blue?
Well, we can put them in red. You know, it's a TaToH color.
All right. So let's do an ad for the start of the game then. They might need to go restart and do a spec delay.
Well, if Nilly has his way, they will absolutely need to do so.
Well, he can't have his way because TaToH drafted them. So. Okay, I failed to download match content. They named their lobby GG. Okay, I succeeded in downloading match content.
Okay,
looks like they're going.
Yeah, now they're probably getting yelled at.
The game is paused. Were they starting resources correct?
Oh, I wasn't really paying attention to that. They're starting gold and stone is correct.
Yeah, Viper writing in chat, I think I forgot spec delay. You did.
Yep.
What a noob. And I see the game is paused because they're asking Rarimbo. And it says it's paused on the dashboard.
And you know what happens when there isn't a spec delay? A hippo is suddenly appearing outside of your window holding a baseball bat.
An abandoned
Break
house?
your kneecaps!
No, a Saracen ambush.
Enemy Letany! Thank you for the sub to T West!
Thanks for using your Prime sub. Thank you for the Saracen ambush. So we're just paused there. Players are having a nice Viper messed up moment. TaToH saying ask Rarimbo. How's he
Outside the
breaking the
window,
kneecaps?
Hippo breaks in.
That's why it's good to be an American, because the hippo is bringing a baseball bat to a gunfight.
Exactly. Why is this taking so long? Isn't this just a simple, oh, I forgot to set the spec delay. Let's restart.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. Is there a comment in the Discord?
Up we go.
Yeah, so they're gonna restart. Also, we can look at the civs. Champy Scout for Viper. The hypothesis of Mapuche for berries on Skakuza seems to be incorrect, as Viper will pick them here for Lowland.
Indeed. Are you ready to Mari Mari, T West?
Yeah, did I write the civs for the wrong players? I think I did. Yeah, I did.
Do you own the DLC, by the way?
I do, yes, I do. I had a code for it.
Because it's a fun one. I like all the civs.
I mean, it's definitely not something I would have bought myself, but I was given a code for it.
I mean, I don't think I've literally spent a cent on AoE 2.
I still don't have the mule carts and the Romans.
Oh my goodness.
I should probably actually ask about that.
I don't even get it as attacks right off, though. One minute, guys, and we will be getting into game number 1 on the lowest land of all.
Let me reach out and see if there's a way I can get keys. Now that I think about it. Typing mule diff in chat after beating Georgia with Armenians. I've never seen that mule diff. What sort of keyboard switch is linear? And I have very low actuation force keys, so they're quick to press. As I have some nerve issues in my left hand, and having lower force keys, I feel is more comfortable for me. But yeah, linear
I'm the
switches.
exact opposite. I have my clicky clackies.
Oh, you have the clicky
My
switches?
Yeah.
Ew. Do you have a gaming keyboard?
It is a Razer keyboard, but it's the 75% size one, which I really like the most because it's portable.
Do you mean 75% just like Tankulus? Does it have like the separate right side for arrow keys, or is it just like smushed together?
It has a right side for the arrow keys, but it is 10 keyless.
Okay, that so it's like 80% then.
Well, I mean, it's sold as a 75%, but
oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Will this game load? Okay, I think we're loading in, and I think we've done it, Orlu. I think we've started the set.
It only took 35 to 40 minutes.
So here we'll have the final winners match. No one is eliminated by losing this best of 5, but the winner goes straight to the quarterfinals. The loser goes into the round of 12. It is essentially a GSL stage, but the decider match becomes a 7-game set and is just kind of thrown into a bracket. You don't know any of the future matchups because those will be randomized. That way there's no situation where a player might lose a game to get a better matchup. But here we will have Viper as the yellow Mapuche to the southwest, and TaToH, I'll put him in red, because I'm used to TaToH being red, to the northeast. He'll be playing as the Way.
Indeed, and this is the matchup we saw on the aforementioned Kilimanjaro game between Vinchester and Yo, where Yo made excellent use of the Mapuche cavalry, going for the Bolas Riders, which actually do match up fairly well against the Shenbei Raiders.
Yeah, we
but
saw the Way
with much better eco.
Yeah, we saw the Way earlier today, and I think we talked about them as kind of feels like a better version of the Huns, with the Shenbei Raiders being a cheap cav archer that's faster to produce, and that is just straight up really strong. The Mapuche also have a unique cav archer, the Bolas Rider. The charged attack slows down enemy units. I don't really see that being used too much, other than they're just themselves a very strong unit.
Yeah, it's 15% for like 8 seconds, so it's a very minor effect, but it does help you if you're trying to catch something that's running away. But for how annoying snare effects can be in any game, honestly, I think it's extremely mild and not a big deal. That said, the Mapuche they don't have the eco that the Way do. They have a strong early game with their really good foragers, but they have no other eco bonus, and their units do lack a lot of tankiness throughout the game.
Yeah. And so what do you think of the settlements as a building? Because I've played a few games with these civs, because I did get a key for this DLC. And one thing that always strikes me when I look at the settlement economy is it looks very boring when you look at the bases, because instead of the variety you get of mills, lumber camps, and mining camps, you just have one building everywhere.
I guess I never really thought about it like that, but it's just a little bit different. I'm not really too bothered with it one way or the other. I mean, having the universal drop-off site is certainly something that makes sense for them to add to AoE 2 as they are continuing to try and make different stuff for new civilizations.
All right, and Viper, he is going for a huge wall. This was the semi-open category of maps, and
Yes.
Viper is putting the emphasis on the semi by walling off his entire map. And do you think Viper will scout the one-tile gap behind that forest?
He should, because his entire strategy revolves around him being walled, and so you have no excuse to not be full walled.
Does that also bother me with mule carts? Not as much, because you still have the difference between mills and mule carts, so there are actually two buildings, and the mule carts are so small that you don't really see them, so much as the settlements are 3x3 and they're huge and they take up so much space.
Would you rather have settlements or hero units?
Oh, settlements, 100%.
Would you have settlements or traction trams?
Settlements.
uh-huh.
You know what I think they could do though, as a unique unit? Make an actual siege unique unit. Like the traction treb could be a castle age unique unit.
Oh, gee, something that can range castles. I mean, they have the fire archer, right? That's a castle age siege unique unit-ish.
But like by itself, it wouldn't be that strong. You'd need a combo with it.
Yeah. Well, Viper, gonna be up on 25. This would be considered a pretty normal uptime if his map was fully walled by default, but obviously it isn't. He had to spend a lot of resources in villager time doing that walling. So I don't know if he'll be able to super easily get Castle Age. That's true, War Chariots do exist. Siege
not
unique
like
unit.
Not like a castle unique unit though. Maybe War Chariot should be a castle unique unit. So range for Viper. And this is clearly going to be a fast castle then for Bolus Riders then.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a great strategy in general against the Way. Way are unlikely to go for something like a Men-at-Arm rush because you kind of want to sit back and let that eco work for you. We've been getting those eco upgrades early and then just taking it to Castle Age because Way themselves have no Feudal Age military bonus. So I kind of like this here for Viper. Just go with a slightly greedier approach. I know Viper loves going greedy in general, but this is like one of those situations where it feels very intentional. And now he's going to be up to Castle Age at a good time.
Yeah, this does feel kind of like what you'd see with Huns on Ghost Lake back in the day. The FC into the Cav Archer unit. And probably going to see that from both players as we see the range from TaToH too. So it's probably going to be Bolus Rider versus Shenbei Raider.
Yep, we've seen that before, and it is a good matchup for the Bolas Rider, because Bolas Riders do have that interesting distinction where they're a little bit better than Cav Archers right out the gun, but because you don't get Bloodlines and you don't get Husbandry, you end up with much lower HP and a slower movement speed than a regular Cav Archer.
Yeah, so double range for Viper. Has the eco setup. I guess, I don't know about this. Do you think the settlement on the gold for Viper is in the right spot to optimize it for the gold, rather than being a few tiles to the side to be a gold plus wood settlement?
I think you just had a TC. By
I
the time you
guess
want to
that's
go
probably
to another
right.
wood line, you just had a TC.
Yeah, because you only have two tile golds at the top of the hill. And it feels like the Cav Archer play is a way to try to win and snowball against your opponent's army, and then stop your opponent from getting to the middle. You can stay and boom at the top of the hill if you want to, It's kind of the opposite of Kilimanjaro, that it's easier to move out to the lowland than it would be if you lose the hill in the middle, so there is some comeback potential. But you still kind of have the same setup where you need to get to the resources and make sure that you never run out of gold or wood.
Yeah, I mean, I think Lowland's a perfectly fine map. It's one of those that just is a good standard land map. Bolas Riders are on the way. And yes, despite logically not making any sense, the Bolas Riders literally benefit from anything that a Cav Archer would. So fletching, Bodcanero for your Bolas.
Yep. They are the ball throwers. And also, they themselves are very fast because the Mapuche don't get a stable, so they can't research husbandry. So the base speed of the unit at 1.5 is slower than a Cav Archer with husbandry, but faster than a normal Cav Archer without husbandry. So they're actually quite fast at the start.
Yeah, which again, I think is good balance, right? Because you get the advantage of not needing the early upgrades, but they don't scale quite as well as some of the other units. And then Mapuche, as the game goes on, would have to mix in either Chompies or their counter units that have more HP.
They also have the Kona. I don't really have a good feel for the Kona because the Bolas Rider is so strong that usually that's all I get to see from the Mapuche. But they also have a Cav unique unit. It's a melee Cav from the castle.
Yep, they are very strong. They're kind of like the latest, but balanced. Like they're glass cannons. So they deal a lot of damage, but they're very fragile.
And TaToH trying to go Elite Skirm. Does that work against the Bolas Riders? As the Bolas Riders can simply avoid taking the fight right now.
Well, Bolas Riders are worse than regular Cav Archers against skirmishers because they have lower base attack. Nice snag there, though, from Viper. Yeah, lower base attack, lower base speed with husbandry, and much lower HP without bloodlines. That said, they do have one base pierce armor, which helps them out a little bit. But yeah, I mean, just think of it as like Cav Archers versus skirms. It's still very similar.
These are elephant monks. One day. that could be maybe a campaign hero one day, an elephant monk.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
And they're like not the type of thing you want to introduce to the game itself, but it could be a campaign hero.
There's a lot of fun stuff they could do with campaigns that I feel like they don't do. But that's a different story altogether. Viper adds in his TC number 2, and I gotta ask, what do you think about TaToH's approach here? Because he's not really ahead in resources, and it doesn't really feel like he's doing a whole lot.
It doesn't feel like Elite Skirm on 1 TC is something you're very happy to be doing.
No.
Well, you're not building up your economy, and you're not building up a gold unit mass. As strong as Skirms can be, at some point, Viper, whenever he wants to, can transition to a counter to Skirm. And then you have TaToH in the perhaps more difficult spot of trying to amass gold units when he does not have much gold, in fact, only 2 tiles inside of his walls.
All right, looks like he will be adding a TC over to the west, but Viper's already adding in his 3rd TC, and Viper's eco upgrades are a lot better than the Way player, which also feels like a situation you don't want to be in as TaToH. So, I mean, everybody's still trying to figure out the new civs, but this feels like not what you want to do, because the advantage of going for this very skirmisher-heavy, like, metagame is when you're booming as well, because the skirmishers are cheap to make while booming, but doing so on a low eco always feels like a bad idea.
Yeah, and remember that Kilimanjaro game? At this point, where both players were far apart and kind of fast castling, it felt like Liereyy with the Way was several hundred, if not maybe 1,000 resources ahead when they were getting to this point.
Yep.
Here, things are just kind of tied when the Way with the extra villas are the civ that you think probably should be the civ that's ahead, even though TaToH's now falling behind in vills too.
Well, it was Vinchester, not Liereyy, but yeah.
No, today, Liereyy ACCM.
Oh, you mean... Oh, in the game with the Way. I thought you were talking about the Kilimanjaro game with the Mapuche. But yes, yeah, in a vacuum, Way should be ahead in economy versus most any civ, especially Mapuche, who themselves have a very weak eco after the early game.
Yeah, I guess you could maybe make up for a bit of wood using settlements, but there's only so much you can do there.
Yeah.
Look at this micro from Viper.
Mapuche are much more about countering the what the enemy is doing, as opposed to like booming and just spamming a gold unit throughout the entire game.
You mean like Viper's doing right now?
Well, Bolas fighters are still counter units relative to Cav archers, so they're not as good generally speaking, but they are good at countering enemy Cav units very effectively.
I mean, they were fighting skirms there. Pretty effectively.
Yeah, they took a terrible fight.
I don't think that was terrible. I think Viper microed was okay. Now things get a bit tricky for Viper because Ballistics is in for TaToH, and he needs to escape with his Bolas Riders.
Indeed. Yeah, Viper got 1 kill.
He's still up in KD. He's killed 4 Vils.
Yep. And at the very least, Viper is in this position where he has the much better economy, which is, again, not typical of going for the Mapuche here. And this is where the low HP of the Bolas Rider, which is funny because Bolas Riders actually have less HP, I think, than Xianbei Raiders, right? Because they have 36 HP? Plus 20 with bloodlines.
Yeah, the
so
1 less HP.
That's so insane!
55 to 56.
Yep. All right, Mangonel coming in. And I mean, this is still, again, it's basically just Cav Archer plus Mangonel.
Yep, and Viper should be able to kill a Vil doing that house.
Mari to the Mari.
What is this Mari reference? I feel like I'm missing something.
Oh, you probably might have never played Mapuche then. That's what their units say when you click on them. It's one of the best voice lines in all of AoE 2. They say, Mari, Mari.
Yeah, I
it
think
means
I've
hello in
them.
Mapuche.
Actually, I might not
really
have played
cute.
them.
It's really cute, though, because apparently in Mapuche, Mari means 10. So it's 10-10, meaning like grasping people's hands. Or, like 10 fingers,
okay.
Which is absolutely adorable.
That's cute. And so it's got to be like a 2-handed handshake then. If it's just like a 1-handed shake like we do, it'd be 5-5.
Indeed. But yes, it's very fun to say Mari Mari. All right, Skirms here going to try and micro as best they can versus the Mangonel and the Bolas Riders, but of course, Ballistics really is the key difference maker here.
Ballistics and micro to dodge the Mangonel shots. So Viper kind of cornered now. Cornered with the skirms bearing down on him. But he's also going to do a forward castle, add in a Scorpion, start moving forward across the map, and he has 2,000 more resources collected thanks to the faster boom and faster TCs. So while TaToH was going for the skirmishers, Viper was adding TCs and booming.
Yeah, and I think maybe TaToH just not correctly reading the situation. And the defensive skirmishers with the worst economy probably has a sub 5% win rate these days. It's really not good. Now Viper's going to be going for some Konas here to help counter the skirmishers. You do have to be a little bit careful with your Konas because they only have 3 pierce armor and 0 melee armor. So even skirmishers will deal 2 damage a hit to them.
Yep.
But they are very fast and they deal a ton of damage.
Yeah. And compared to Knights, Knights have a base 2 pierce armor, and by getting +1 and then +2 in the Castle Age, they get up to 4. So the Kona, without access to the Blacksmith Cav armor techs, are basically right in the middle.
Yep, but they have 0 melee armor, so that is very, very bad, as even unupgraded Knights have 2 melee armor. But Konas have 125 HP, so it's like they have bloodlines built into them. So again, you just see how the unit's balanced.
So Viper adding in a ram against the skirms. TaToH, is he on an only skirms challenge today? He just made tons of skirms.
Where are TaToH's monks? Okay, he's picking up a relic. I mean, he's going to be on 3 relics to 0 in a second, which is, of course, very good for him. But now Viper's applying pressure to the front, and I really think that TaToH has just misread this game.
Yeah, Viper has gold control in the middle, TaToH doesn't, and that means in his base, TaToH now has access to 1.7k gold.
I mean, TaToH hasn't been spending that much gold in the first place, so it's not like it's the end of the world. But this is a map control-oriented map, and right now, you don't have that. The ram is going to destroy one of the archery ranges, so it's a nice way for Viper to continue pressure. He's getting Devotion to help out the Konas. And now Viper's going to click up to Imp in just a moment.
Yep, and TaToH's trying to swap over to Shinbei Raiders. Well, I think that's kind of the problem with skirmishers. TaToH hasn't been amassing Shinbei Raiders this whole time. It's not like he has a powerful army for raiding Viper or doing any type of counterattack. He's stuck defending. Stuck defending on a map where there isn't much gold left to defend.
And he's defending with a worse economy, which is almost always terrible. You need to be doing something proactive if you have a worse economy. And right now, he's just not up to the Imperial Age. His eco balance isn't quite as good as his opponent. And Viper, with very little investment, mind you, the Bolas Riders only had Bodkin and +1 defense invested into them. Only now is Ballistics coming in.
Yeah. And I honestly, I'm kind of worried about TaToH this set, because I know the past couple days he was doing some type of bike ride. I saw him streaming it on Instagram. So I don't know how much practice he's had in the very close lead up to these games.
Yeah. I do not know, but at the moment, Viper is absolutely cruising. Shenbei Raider numbers are climbing, but like I said, the Bolas are efficient versus them. I'm pretty sure they are more expensive than the Shenbei Raiders. Maybe a little bit cheaper after Butul Mapu, but in general, they are more expensive, but they should do well enough.
Butul Mapu, Team Castle, Unique Units, and Bolas Rider. And? What is it with these and bonuses?
Yeah.
I'm surprised this isn't and
odd.
Fire Lancers.
I mean, it works out all right. I mean, you could just say, like, your unique units and Ally Castle unique units. I think they probably just applied to all unique units, and then something stupid happened with Butul Matu plus Goths plus Condos, and then they had to change it.
Yeah, that would be really cheap.
Yeah, so I think that's probably what happened.
So, Forward Castle from the Viper. That is a rather nice castle.
It is.
I like the architecture on it. I give that a solid A.
I like all of the new castles, actually. But in general, I think they did a good job with all the castle unique architectures. They do it. No matter how historically accurate they are, I think what the art team did a good job of is giving you the vibe of that civilization, which is really the most important thing.
I think the castles I like the least are the ones that clash with the architecture sets. Sometimes they don't exactly fit in.
Well, that's when the architecture sets themselves, I think, don't match what the civilization they represent had.
Oh, that's a question. If you have multiple Mapuche on the same team and they all research that tech, what happens?
It stacks. It does stack.
Is it multiplicative, though?
Tried.
It's multiplicative, though, so it's probably times 0.85. It's not just like a minus flat value, right?
But I did a Reddit post way back when I had the early access. So let's see here.
So Tiger Cav from TaToH. He will pick off and slow down Viper, destroy a couple of tribs. And he's there with some monks to heal and try to convert. So far so good for TaToH defending, even though he's down by 5,000 resources collected. And could even pick off another trib.
And to be fair, Wei are one of the best full Castle Age civs easily. I'm still not confident that this is going to scale super well, but I mean, he's not dead yet. And here it is. In my testing, TBS, this is with 7 Mapuche allies.
Okay.
Karambit warriors cost 8 food and 5 gold. And elite war elephants cost 55 food and 26 gold. Obviously, you'd never get that in an actual game, but even getting half of that with, like, 3 Mapuche allies is pretty fun.
Yeah, that's true. Even just one Mapuche ally. That sounds pretty crazy. A 15% discount on war elephants.
Indeed. The issue is that Mapuche themselves are a pretty bad team game civ.
Yeah, just trade and sling.
Yep. Something like that. Anyway,
cool.
Viper now pushing forward here, and it is just going to become so difficult to try and sustain this defensively.
TaToH doing a castle in the middle, at least. And TaToH does have some gold access in the bottom of the hill. And this is a map where Viper doesn't even really need to push into TaToH's base, where he already has the TCs set up. He can simply play at the bottom of the map and deny TaToH from gold.
it is certainly another win condition. That said, Viper not really with a whole lot of early imp power with the Bolas Riders. And that's another way the unit's actually, I think, a bit better balanced than the Xianbei Raider, is that because you don't have Bracer, you don't really get as much of a power spike with them. You either need to get an expensive unique tech or an expensive elite upgrade. And Viper, of course, at this point can afford it because he's 6,000 resources ahead. But it's still, again, it feels more balanced that way.
And Wood Paladin has no clue what the units are doing. I agree. I mean, think about this. We got Tiger Cav, Bolas Riders, Konas, female monks.
Yeah.
But you can rest assured that none of those units are anywhere near as strong as the Elite Skirmisher.
Yes. Oh, does he have Malon? Oh, he does have Malon. Yeah, that's a big one, though.
Yeah. So Malon turns your Skirmishers and Bolas Riders into Scorpions. So Skirmishers will deal pass-through damage, and that is why the Civ does not have Bracer.
Yep. It's a pretty good reason to not have Bracer.
Yeah. And
But
TaToH
the Elite
wants to
Bolas
go...
Riders do have 5 range, which means that they actually get the range effect of Bracer built into their Elite upgrade, which is not something that the Kipchoks ever got. So Kipchoks are just stuck with less range than any other Cav Archer.
And TaToH going for a castle, but he's going to call GG, as he thinks that's going to be a doubt castle, and he will realize how far behind he is in economy. And just right from the start, it felt like both of them FC, and instead of going for Cav Archers, TaToH went for Skirms because he was afraid of the Xianbei Raider versus Bolas Rider matchup, and the Skirm boom was still slower than Viper's boom.
Yeah, Viper had the more clear and decisive game plan in the first place. His castle age time was faster. TaToH spending a bunch of resources on defenses. And it just did not work out at all there for TaToH. So it's a new Civ matchup. I'd understand that it didn't quite figure it out, but that definitely was not the approach. And that was the last pick versus the first pick, too.
Oh, dang. That is rough. But now we see why Viper snagged Mapuche at the end of the draft. He wanted that matchup against the Wei, and he got it. He had probably done some testing of the Bolas Riders versus the Xianbei Raiders. And seeing the maps and then anticipating, I mean, from that map pool, that's the map you pick Wei, right? Like, I don't think you use them on any other map. It's there. So that was a end of the draft Civ snipe from Viper that worked out.
For sure. And especially if you can skip the early game with the Mapuche, because they're pretty bad in Feudal Age these days. As are all of the South American Civs, which feels really weird because they're all designed to be good Feudal Age Civs, but that's what happens when the Chompies aren't very good.
Well, they were designed to be good Dark Age Civs.
Yeah, but they're not really that either, because Chompies are pretty bad.
Oh, not when they were released. So Pacific Islands will be next. And Persians for TaToH, Bengalis for Viper, and that basically feels like TaToH's on a timer to win early with Persians because their navy will not scale as well as the Bengali navy.
Yeah, we will have to see. TaToH going to want to do something aggressive, though.
Transport ship douche. Let's go.
But why did it work for Liereyy? Because Lierey's execution was very significantly better.
Viper has no water civ? He has
Got
Bengalis.
Persians and...
Portuguese.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Bengalis, Portuguese, and Wei are all fantastic water civs.
So here we have Pacific Islands. Viper to the north is the yellow Bengalis. TaToH to the south as the red Persians. No fish booming in the back. That's medium water in those little ponds. You can't dock it. You gotta come forward where the fish are very sparse. And your initial dock and fishing ships won't sustain you forever. And you'll have to make decisions about how much you fish versus how much you go for the middle.
Yeah, I honestly kind of like that with this map, where water is super important tactically because it comprises most of the map and there are all the islands and stuff, but you don't necessarily get a huge eco advantage for winning water. It's more of a map control advantage, so I think it balances out pretty well.
No, Orlu, did you update your scoreboard correctly?
Did I not do that? That sounds like something I would do.
Did you put 1-0 TaToH when it's 1-0 Viper?
I might have done that.
Okay, so Viper's forward with his scout, but TaToH, perhaps anticipating this, has 2 Vils by his dock, and should he need to, he can always hop a Vil into a transport.
Kind of the weird animation right there where like the scout attacked to the side and still hit.
Yeah, I've seen that from scouts a lot, right? You've seen that before. They don't actually point towards their target when they attack.
Yeah, it's a little weird. I don't know exactly what causes that, but it is pretty amusing.
Yeah, that is a thing.
Well, fishing ship is on the way faster here for TaToH, so certainly an excellent utilization of the very strong Persian Dark Age. Viper will have his own fishing ship on the way. Slower, though.
And only 5 on wood for TaToH. So, not going too heavily for the fishing ships right at the start, just adding the 6 now. Viper has 8 on wood immediately.
Indeed, and he will be able to sustain fishing ship production. And as we see so often on water maps these days, it's much more 2 docks you click up to feudal age with like 5 to 8 fishing ships, if you're even going aggressive, as opposed to 1 dock with 3 to 4 fishing ships. And that is certainly the result of being able to garrison fishing ships and having them fire arrows.
Yep. And now on this map, we do have the new water triangle of galleys, fires, and hulks. Which ship do you open with on this map when you're this far apart? Is it still hulks with galleys behind them, or do you go straight for galleys?
I feel like you go straight for fires, because the fires tank the dock fire and punish your opponent, especially if you think you're up faster. So I think TaToH, as the Persians here, is almost certainly going to try and take that more aggressive approach. He's banked up a lot more food. Ooh. As you mentioned, he was later onto wood, so I feel like aggressive fire ships take down the fishing ships and then put pressure on the docks, because Dark Age docks have no melee armor.
You know, it would be a very TaToH strat to put a Vil on the transport and then transport into an aggressive dock. Like, we used to see that on Migration. I don't know how viable that is in the current meta, but it would be fun to see.
Well, I'm not sure if the timing works out, because you need to send the villagers over to the bigger island right now so that you can get your second lumber camp in. And you will already be in feudal age by the time you'd send another villager over, so maybe you'd have to send it over a lot sooner. I'm not entirely sure. As it stands, though, TaToH will likely be on 2 docks making fire ships.
So Viper with, right now, 24 Vils and 5 Q. Does he go into Fast Castle as the Bengalis? Which you can do on water maps these days because you garrison your fishing ships to protect them.
Yeah, and Bengalis are certainly an extremely strong civ in the Castle Age. I was actually wrong, though. TaToH's only on 1 dock.
Yeah, and
this is pretty interesting.
I mean, on this map with the fish so spread out, you do get more access to fish with second docks, but also that access very quickly goes away once you take the fish.
Yes, but I'm just kind of wondering what the benefit of this faster feudal age time is, and it will be for a galley, just 1 galley. The Bengali for the Persians.
Yeah, the Bengali for the Persians.
And Viper clicks up, and he is ferrying himself over to the mainland in a spot actually which is really, really easy to defend. He's got stone here, the wood line is quite nice. And even
he just wants
deer.
to play Rage Forest.
Yeah.
The galley's name is Ben. That's the captain's name.
Yep. Fishing lines coming in now here for TaToH, so certainly good to get that upgrade nice and quickly. But it's double the fishing ships here from Viper. Like I said, you're typically clicking up 2 docks, 5 to 8 fishing ships, and that's exactly what Viper is doing this game, and TaToH's not really in a good position to pressure them.
Now, TaToH's going feudal, but the docks are so far away, it takes a long time for the galleys to reach the other side, and as we noted earlier, galleys no longer destroy fishing ships as quickly. It takes not 6, but now 10 arrows to sink a fishing ship from a galley.
Yep, no longer bonus damage versus ships. It's bonus damage versus long-range warships. So that does not include fishing ships. Which do
Versus-
still have their own armor class.
Yeah, versus long-range warships, which galleys are.
It's everything, every military ship that isn't a Hulk or a fire ship,
Including turtle ships.
including all unique ships and all siege ships.
So Viper
and a
hopping
demo ship,
in,
yes.
yeah, in and out of the dock. Yeah, the demos are definitely not long range these days.
This feels like a great example of why we don't see aggressive play on water these days.
Yeah.
Viper's just going to click up to Castle Age.
Yeah, just up to the castle age, unable to pressure the fish at all. And kind of the reason I don't like the water meta.
And I had a player argue to me in a chat that the water meta is super diverse right now.
I don't think so.
But
I think
don't know, man.
I've seen a lot of water games now since we've had a couple tournaments, and I think the water meta is strictly worse than it was before the patch.
It feels like it's even more snowbally because if you win water, you just have even more fishing ships.
I feel like I've seen almost all the time on the hybrid maps now, whoever wins water overinvests and ends up losing the game.
Yeah. Is it worse because of Hulks? I don't really think Hulks make the game better or worse. They're just kind of there.
Yeah. I think the weaker demos make the game worse.
Yeah.
I think that, though, as a design perspective, we already had a short-range melee ship in the Fire Galley. We didn't need a second one of those in the Hulk. And the demo Fire Galley triangle, even if it didn't quite work out that well, at least was more interesting, because it wasn't just rock, paper, scissors. Now we basically have a literal game of rock, paper, scissors. And that can be a nice formula for trying to balance stuff, but rock, paper, scissors itself just isn't good by virtue of just having that counter system.
Yeah, the biggest change, though, was the garrisoning of the fishing ships. Makes such a huge difference in what you can do. Anyway, Viper adding a second TC, adding a monastery. Nothing killed so far this game. TaToH, with the power of Persians, is still slightly ahead in resources for the time being. That said, it is likely going to be changing pretty soon, and Viper Civ scales much better throughout the game, remember, so you have to be careful.
Thank you to my YouTube chat for noting I typed Viper instead of the Viper. And
oh my goodness.
I didn't have his flag displayed. Yeah, but both of them now on Onamaru. I just his team wasn't on the overlay because I mistyped. I didn't put the in his name. And I need to have that Norwegian flag because it's a Constitution Day in Norway today. It's a big holiday.
I did not know it was Constitution Day in Norway. How did you know it was Constitution Day in Norway?
I just have a lot of Norwegian friends, and I saw it was Constitution Day.
Oh, okay.
And then the Viper's playing, he's Norwegian, so we were talking about that, I think, at the start of my stream. Like, yeah, it's a good day for him to be winning some AoE too.
Yeah, there we go. Well, both saw medium warships coming in. Now for both players, villager numbers are even, but Viper is on that second town center. Fishing ship numbers are now the same. And TaToH is still slightly ahead in resources. So, I mean, Persian Eco certainly scales very fast, which is quite good. But I'm just kind of concerned on how this is going to be looking in the long run against Bengalis.
Yeah, it's just, I feel that Bengalis are going to scale better on the water when Persians, they miss shipwright and they miss bracer. So those are key parts of the water triangle they won't be able to do. Whereas the Bengalis, they miss heavy demo and they miss the second fire ship upgrade, which I think is...
Did you have that memorized?
What? No, I looked at the tech tree.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Like, dang, T-West, you're good, man. I mean, I thought I was the only one who was weird enough to try and memorize those.
No, I need to look that up every time. What the university techs are for the docks, I don't really know. Well, here's TaToH kind of winning some water now and pushing the dock, so Viper will lose a dock. Well, I mean, one way you can win the water is just win it so hard that your opponent can't come back later on. But that's a hard thing to do on Pacific Islands with how large the map is.
Yeah, there's just a lot of surface area for you to be able to sneak up docks. That said, very impressive here from TaToH, and that's the thing with fire ships. I don't know if you agree that fire ships are way too good against, especially docks, but you just sort of get to this position where you just delete the enemy docks so fast that it's like, how do you even come back from that?
I don't know if its fires are too good against docks, or maybe the other ships comparatively aren't good enough against docks. I don't know what the answer is.
Well, I think that the other ships kill docks both pretty slowly, which feels fine. Because you want to make it so that you either need to invest into land units or siege ships to actually snipe the enemy docks easily, so you're not just making the thing that wins you water and then also giving you the benefit from winning water even harder.
Alright, well, time for Viper to monk rush with the Bengalis, but TaToH will go now Persian light cav on the western island to try to thwart the monk rush attempt. Ooh, does this TC get denied by a Mangonel?
Well, it's a Persian TC, so it's going to be very tanky. Viper is going to be getting his barracks in. He can mix in some spearmen here to help deal with the light cav, as it is only a single stable. Viper is going with some goofy-looking quick gates here, but that is not to say they are ineffectual. And Insta! Oh my goodness, the Instas, man.
And it was Viper devoted? He was not even devoted there. I think that, though, was just a bad play from TaToH trying to fight Bengali monks in the first place with all the extra armor they have. You really need overwhelming scout numbers or light cap numbers to take that fight, and equal numbers is usually not what you want to go with.
It is not, and now Viper has his own raiding potential here, and the issue with going for a light cav defense is that your income for food is pretty low as both players, but the answer to monks is a food unit, so it's really tricky to defend here with the light cav. And the converted light cav are even going to be able to snipe a villager, and if Viper grabs redemption soon, he can start converting the stables, and then things are going to get out of control really fast.
Oh, okay, he's maybe getting a bit too close to the stables, though. And that's the type of fight you want to take against Bengali monks. Nicely done from TaToH to focus them down one at a time and clear everything. But Viper now has managed to get spears out to defend against the light cav. Just one mistake with the monks getting too far forward.
Icarus flew too close to the sun once again. Viper will get another consolation prize with another light cav kill, but that second stable is crucial. Now TaToH will need to buy food to be able to sustain that production, but he's also doing pretty well on the water. That said, behind this, Viper's eco is looking a little bit better, 67 to 59 bills, with also that wheelbarrow upgrade.
Yeah, and this is where winning the water early on could be maybe an overfocus from TaToH, because he has 5 fishing ships on 1 box turtle that he just finished. And where is he going to be fishing now? There are no more fish left in the sea for TaToH.
This is what overfishing looks like, guys. It's really a tragedy on humanity. Gonna try and add another TC here on the Eastern Island. Not Easter Island, just the Eastern Island.
It's the Eastern Island. And that's TaToH fleeing the monk rush, as we'll have more monks for Viper on this island. And it's going to be the same thing. Monks, but now in archery range. So this elephant archers?
Most likely, but just kind of like the issue with the light cav, Viper doesn't have very good food income. So his ability to train many elephant archers is very low. We now have scale barding armor coming in, and I think it's a good decision there from TaToH. You see just how much Viper is investing into the control of this western island, so just bury yourself on over. You still have plenty of resources. Yeah, it's annoying that these TCs are eventually going to go down, but just take whatever resources you can before you have to Dunkirk those villagers.
Yeah, well, one thing for which you don't need food is the Ratha, and that's what Viper will be going with now. Still no redemption, so no converting the stables. But with the spears, should be better
irredeemable.
Yeah, the spears should be better at defending the monks now.
Husbandry is going to be a nice one as well, and there is the elephant archer production beginning.
Oh, let's go. Let's go, elephant archers.
Yep. Castle number 2 coming in for Viper. This is not something that TaToH can allow. He is only just now starting to mine stone. And Viper's 2,000 resources ahead. Holy cow, I didn't realize it was that big of a difference that quickly. And this, again, this is game right here if this goes up.
Yeah, and once again, Orlu, I'm telling you, winning the water means you lose the game. That's what Age of Empires is like these days.
Well, unless you can fish boom super heavily from it, and TaToH's light cav are not in position. Uh-oh. Viper's so much less idle time than TaToH.
Yeah, I don't think the light cav can even do much here against the elephant art, or the Rothas now, to snipe the monks.
Well, Ellie Archers and Rothas. This is looking really grim right now for TaToH, despite what the score says that it's close. That's just the water score lies, and TaToH has a lot of military right now that doesn't do anything.
Well, it does something.
The land that matters.
Yeah, it's TaToH dies to Viper's starting town center as he lands, gets a vill or so. But Viper can clean this up with his own stable.
Defensive battle elephant, maybe?
Let's go. Something that is going to do a great job of running down and catching the light cav, I'm sure, with its speed.
I did play a game against a 1600 player on Golden Pit, and I tried to go Bengali battle elephants, and I lost horribly.
Well, there's a battle elephant for Viper, a bit late, but he got it out.
And it just feels like it's such a tricky spot here, because the thing with Persians is that their army is so expensive. They are not a good low eco civ whatsoever. You need a big, boomy economy to support all your cav units. Bengalis don't need that as much. Even though they also have some expensive units, they're so efficient that it feels a lot better for them.
Alright, so TaToH has 12 vills in this TC, and I don't think there's any way for him to save them. And then he's also getting basically pushed off the other island. That guard tower, the best chance he has at keeping vills alive, and he will call the GG. Viper winning the land really hard.
And there is your hypothesis of losing the water and winning the game. Because
yep.
I think TaToH just did not invest enough onto the land quickly enough, and then his own eco-efficiency completely fell down as Viper, who was basically even or slightly behind in villagers compared to TaToH, is now massively ahead in res collected, and TaToH just not getting anywhere in this series.
Oh, I updated my scoreboard wrong with the civ fucking. There we go. So, well, do we see arena for game 3? No, we don't.
I hope so.
I would hope so too, but unfortunately, TaToH will give us Murkwood.
Boring.
Yeah. It'll be.
Is this best of 5 going to be shorter than the wait between the series?
It might be. It might be. Yeah.
All right, guys, a minute 34, and we will be getting here into game number 3. TaToH series life on the line, although he has already advanced to the round of 12.
What is Skakuza? That is Young Panda's map. An African-themed map where there is lots of hunt in the middle. Unless you meant civs. This is the most chill stream. Yeah, we're very chill here.
Indeed. It's just Malay Portuguese, or it could be fun and be like Teutons Georgians with a bunch of castles sitting around and no one ever pushing.
Could be Teutons Woo. Now that would be fun. So Murkwood, Nomad with shallows on the outside. Teutons were picked. Is this the first time in 10 years? No, actually, in the Brazilian Dynasty qualifier, TaToH picked Teutons and beat Liereyy on a very open land map.
Yep.
Do Teuton castles outrange fire archers? With crenellations, I believe they do. They should.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. My game's not launching.
Well, I am in the game, luckily enough, and we are here on Murkwood. And we'll have Viper 1 game away from the round of 8, trying to prove to the world that he is not washed. and he'll be to the north in the yellow as the Woo, and to the south in the red as the Spanish, getting his IRL Civ with this series on the line. It will be TaToH.
Yeah, I don't know if you'd want to be washed in this water. It's kind of muddy.
Yeah, it's pretty murky, one might even say.
Yeah, it's murky, and you might also note the bamboo and see that it's filled with wood.
Indeed. Viper famously won his Red Bull. Yeah, but that was years ago.
Also, Viper not going to dock the edge of the coastline. He's going to go all the way to the outside of the map and find a little island that he can use the beach
TaToH's doing
that's
the same
jutting
thing.
out. Do you think this is just a thing that players have practiced and realize the dock out here is maybe a bit closer to more fish?
Possibly. I mean, this feels pretty non-coincidental that these two teammates here would both come to this conclusion. Oh, and TaToH's going to do the thing where he takes the hunt and then clicks on the salmon, and then it turns into a fish, and then he can drop it off at the dock.
Servidora.
Yeah.
It's stuff like this that makes me wonder, should docks just allow you to drop off all food resources?
Or should they just not allow Vils to drop off food like originally?
Well, I mean, that's what I would want, but, like, it feels like if you're going to allow this, you might as well allow them to drop off all the food there.
Like blood to wine, right? Yep.
Presta.
Yeah, that's what Doubt does. He converts hunt to fish. So more Vils for TaToH. He's just booming as the Spanish in the south. And what do you think he's going to do? He is so nearby. Is this FC Conquistadors or maybe something more fun like FC Missionaries?
Could be both. I do think that Spanish are better than just conquistadors. I think they actually have more options now than they used to, and missionaries being, in my opinion, a little too good, actually. Is certainly a reason for that.
Yep.
But with a long rush distance, you don't need to, like, go super rush all-in conquistadors.
Yeah, because now missionaries benefit also from the stable upgrades, bloodlines and husbandry, and also from the blacksmith armor techs for Cav. So they can get up to, and also as the Spanish, they don't cost gold and they get gold when they spend the food and research the blacksmith techs. So kind of even just worth it to research them for the gold you get if you're going missionaries anyway.
Yeah, and you still have that super broad Spanish tech tree. Long rush distance definitely would indicate that you don't, like, you can still probably get to conquistadors. I mean, conquistadors are still one of the best units in the game. I should know. I just lost a gajillion villagers versus them yesterday. But I had a bunch of monks. But yeah, my point is, you don't need to rush to get there.
Yeah, there's another dock from TaToH, so double docks. And on this map, where the players have docks so far apart from each other, I think this has to be a fast castle opening from both of them. There's no way they'd ever do enough feudal damage to make a feudal age justified.
Yeah, and as we can see, the fast castle stuff is almost always on this map, I feel, better than the feudal age intensive play.
So kind of different from Ring Nomad in that regard.
It's usually a lot easier to just get up to castle age. You usually have a much larger economy when you click up to feudal age in the first place because of the early fishing ships. But Viper himself on a couple of docks, and his Civ, the Woo, is really bad against Spanish, I feel. But again, I'm always biased against the 3K Civs.
Yeah. I mean, if Viper just FCs to Fire Archers, how do Fire Archers do to Conks? Because in some sense, Conks should be countered by ranged units, right?
Yes, but Fire Archers are worse against literally every unit than crossbowmen. Like, every single one, except arguably Siege, where it's like you can trade a little bit of extra damage for a much slower reload time.
Alright, so Fire Archers...
Except both.
I mean, what if the Woo just make skirmishers then? Because you're probably not going to go Jin, Swordsman, or Huiguang Cav against Conks. You're not going to do any infantry.
Even the last armor upgrade.
I mean,
your
we're talking
aren't that great.
Castle Age more, though.
Well, I mean, neither Civ has a huge eco bonus. But if you're going skirms, are you going to be in another situation like TaToH in game number 1 where you just have skirms on a worse economy?
Well, maybe you have skirms on a better economy. Just boom better than TaToH did.
That certainly is a possibility. 11 fishing ships per player, so this is all still quite even.
Ooh.
But Viper's the one on his way to feudal age, and it's certainly not surprising that the Wu would want to be the more aggressive Civ here.
Yeah, but I don't think feudal aggression on this map is going to pay off. So one thing we did do, a change if you play this base map in DE, is we added a couple of pairs of oysters around, a few pairs of oysters on the outside. So if you are having a TC like Viper does, where he doesn't have a gold nearby, he can still take gold from the water. Gives you maybe a bit more flexibility in where you place your TC and not being punished as hard if you don't have gold access.
Yeah, that works fine, and it's certainly like a good use of oysters. Notably, Viper is on 3 docks at this point, so he could start pumping out a ton of ships. Usually it's mass hulks on this map, but I feel like with the long rush distance, you can pretty easily justify galleys, no? Oh, he is going FC.
I improved mic quality? That was probably a few years ago.
Oh no.
I can't listen to my old videos with the mic quality.
Oh.
Monday?
My old videos from like 2019, 2020 are like they're so painful, man.
Yeah. I have videos from like 2016 that are like
Oh no.
they're like my very first YouTube uploads. I could definitely tell where like I didn't know how to position the microphone properly.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that was something we had back. Remember those escape gaming tournaments?
Oh yes.
Yeah, I remember Nilly would be casting, and people would always like complain that they couldn't understand him. And it sounded like he was casting from a toilet. And basically, after a couple of months, he realized that his mic was just facing backwards.
Those were simpler times.
Yeah, they were.
All right, Market Blacksmith coming in for TaToH. Viper's going to be up faster, though, and he's going to make my least favorite unit in the whole of Age of Empires 2.
Your least favorite unit, the Fire Archer?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the Schrider still is my least favorite by far. Well, actually, they added hero units. Those are my least favorites.
Design-wise, it's heroes and Shravamsha Riders. In terms of just, like, do I enjoy using the unit? The Fire Archers are the least enjoyable unit in Age of Empires.
Yeah. Every so often, you see someone who misses obsidian arrows, and I'm like, you know what? I'm glad it's gone. I have nightmares of playing games against TaToH on HD, where TaToH would have obsidian arrows with a Saracen's ally, and I'd just get demolished. I'm just like, no, never again.
I feel like the people who really miss obsidian arrows the most are ones that saw it in, like, a T90 video and thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
And then just didn't really ever see it on a regular basis.
Yeah, that was a relic of the days when the Maya were called the Mayans, and they made plumed archers. And team games were slinging the Mayans to make plumed archers. So the devs at the time, Forgotten Empires, they thought, well, no one ever makes ARBs as the Mayans. Let's just give them a unique tech that affects the ARBs.
Yep.
So Viper did fast castle, very fast castle. I was worried that the fast feudal time might have been him trying to do water pressure, but no, it was just a clean build for a fast castle into medium warship fires. And with the medium warships, we'll indeed fight the Hulks, as they're not war Hulks, they're just Bruce Banner non-transformed Hulks.
Indeed. And sometimes, oh no! Hey, beer!
Oh my gosh, the Hulk grappled the tapir, and the tapir is running after the Hulk.
Bosa coming in, medium warships is about to be in. It is 19 to 14 fishing ships. Viper is grabbing a monastery. TaToH is getting his own castle here, and right now it is still all about the water. Viper, though, with a huge numbers advantage.
Yeah, TaToH does at least have more fishing ships, and his res collected is higher. So, I mean, is this maybe another instance of Viper overinvests on water and then loses the land, especially when he's going to be fighting conquistadors?
TaToH's also getting forging, which doesn't matter for the Hulks, which I think they're going to change.
Well, it does.
The devs didn't realize
it
that.
does matter when they fight fire ships. It's just Hulk versus Hulk where it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it matters when they fight fire ships, and it matters when they fight galleys.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter against other Hulks. But you can reduce the Hulk armor by 1 in Feudal and Castle Age, and it doesn't change the fire ship interaction at all, so I think they're going to do that. Anyway, Missionary coming out. Conquistadors are coming out as well. But the ship numbers here are still better for Viper, and neither player has added a second TC just yet.
I like how that Tapir is just chilling out with less HP by the dock now.
Calm down. It was very disgruntled having a bunch of hooks thrown at it, which is understandable.
Yeah. Oh, hello, Debbie.
How's it looking? It's looking as fabulous as T-West looks.
Oh, thank you, Orlu. Thank you for the compliment on the very muddy water, ugly, swampy map.
You know, I just need something bright and shiny.
So, anyway, on the water, feels like they're just gonna kind of stalemate around the bottom coast here. And in the north, on the land, it is Conquistador time.
Indeed, we have 2 relics in for Viper, though. 1 so far for TaToH. Oh, Monk is going to be caught out of position, maybe?
Ooh. Oh, the Conquistadors actually hit something. But... what I would worry about here is if Viper can get ballistics and then can probably actually take decent fights against Conks, even with the fire archers.
Yeah, at that point, you're still looking at an archer unit versus a Conquistador, and the Conquistadors would need to be able to at least relatively match upgrades. And that was an Insta there for Viper. Why didn't I get that versus the Conks yesterday?
That was an Insta. And TaToH doing Conks, but not devoted Conks. And he's going for a siege workshop. And a barracks. And that's a lot of fire archers. It's going to be hard to fight with the Conks.
Yeah, Viper's macro when it comes to just producing army has been very good so far in this game. He's now also grabbing the wheelbarrow upgrade. He's getting some fire archers here defensively to help shoo away enemy conks. And we're looking at almost a 3-to-1 fire archer to conquistador ratio. And conks are not a third or 3 times as expensive as fire archers. So Viper just doing a great job producing those units.
Has there ever been an S tier tournament where every map was random and no one would know what to expect? I don't think so.
We've had map packs for like specific games and tournaments, but not like a full random thing.
Yeah. The final map in the draft here is fairly random, but it's also random in the sense that you see it before you pick the civs and you know what it is. It's not random in the sense that you're just going into the game and it's random.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like that idea. We were talking about that earlier, where I said I don't really like drafts, because I think we see a lot of repetitive, strong civs on the same maps. I like seeing stuff like playing, I don't know, Celts versus Franks on Migration occasionally. You get the bad civs on a weird map, and you have to adapt.
But if there's anything that all pro players dislike, it is having to play those sorts of games.
Yeah. I mean, we
they
did
like
have
a lot of consistency.
Yeah. We did have the A-tier event, not S-tier, but the hyper-random tournament, which was fairly random, because it was hyper-random with random civs every game. But also fairly, I guess, non-standard, right? So I don't think there's ever been kind of like a standard map pool with a randomish civ selection like that.
Anyway, second castle is in here. Bloodlines is in. Leather Archer armor is about to be in here as well for TaToH. The Fire Archer numbers are still looking very, very good, though. Viper's adding his second TC as well. So you have to be very careful here as both players. Viper's still with really good macro.
Okay, so Viper, oh my gosh. We have a demo raft from TaToH. We have a demo raft from TaToH. It's 2026 and we have a demo raft.
Well, Viper going to easily micro down that Mangonel.
You know what demo? Orlu, I have an idea. Right? Instead of fishing ships garrisoning in docks, we let demos garrison in docks. So, like, if you have a demo that doesn't work, you can put it back.
Ah, interesting. Anyway, here we can watch how amazing fire archers are. These are literally almost fully upgraded fire archers, guys. What an absurdly OP unit. Oh my goodness, it killed two conquistadors.
It killed 2 conquistadors. Only 1 save per match, no repeat. We actually did that for Stronghold Frenzy. It was a B tier tournament, but we did that last year. Throughout the entire tournament, you could only play each civ once. And that kind of was interesting for a B tier tournament, as Viper loses more fire archers, because you could have the players who are, you know, not the top tier players, but they'll be picking their best civs when they get matched up against TaToH or Andy or some of the higher level players. Whereas they try to save the best civs for the end.
Yep. We did that in KOTD 2 or 3, I think, as well. But then everyone got angry because it's like, oh, the highest seeded players had weaker opponents in the first round, so they didn't have to use their strong civs to beat them, whereas the people who had closer matches did.
Yeah. It's a fun way to do it, but it has its pros and cons like everything does.
Yep. Anyway, second castle's coming in here from Viper. The Conch and Fire Archer numbers have been largely reset.
And, I mean, eco count 74 to 80. This is about as even a game as we could have had so far on this map.
It does feel like TaToH is going to be getting further and further ahead, though. Still 22 to 15 fishing ships, 60 to 60 villagers. TaToH is still slightly ahead in resources. The Conchs are even going to start to run in and start picking off stuff. I mean, both unique units are good against ships, for sure.
Yeah, also, we have a missionary. I mean, yeah, remember, missionaries can pick up relics now. So that can help TaToH grab relics. It's 3 to 3 right now. Actually, is there a final relic somewhere? Gotta check the map for that.
There should be.
Is it being held by Monk? Yep. Okay, Viper's gonna put it in his monastery there.
Alright, so 4 to 3 relic advantage for Viper is something.
Yep. That always worries me when the Monk's holding the relic and I'm looking at the map and I can't find it. And I panic like, oh my gosh, is the map bugged? Did the relics not spawn? Do I have to go and fix this right now?
You are good. Everything's fine, T West. Oh, wait, is this double RAM production here for TaToH?
Oh, RAM production. I mean, if there's one player who really likes going for all in RAM pushes in the castle age, it is TaToH. So he might be trying to push these castles with conquistadors and rams.
I do think it's kind of weird, though, because the Civ is so much better in the late game. Oh, man, it's more Fire Archers versus Conchs.
Yeah. The deer distracting TaToH's right click, and he'll miss micro and miss a shot of Conchs that could have killed some Fire Archers.
Okay, to be fair, this is, like, very poorly controlled from TaToH. Oh my goodness. And now the fishing ships are going to start to get sniped. And it's all cleaned up. Even taking that terrible start to the fight, the Fire Archers still all get cleaned up.
Alright, so castle on the water for Viper. And how is the archer tech tree for the Wu outside of the Fire Archers? They do have arbalests, but no thumb ring for them, and they will miss the final armor upgrade. So not really that great.
Not great. Now, more ram coming in. Conchs are running forth. But the Fire Archers showing just what a devastatingly strong unit they are here.
Well, to be fair, though...
This is 45 wood a pop.
To be fair, though, Orlu, they are fighting conquistadors. I mean, conquistadors do this to pretty much any unit.
In general, yes, but you could get so much more value if this was a longbowman.
I enjoy when I can read the German in the chat.
Yeah, I definitely can't.
I need to give Orlu some German lessons. So now we have 4 rams from TaToH, 5 rams. He just keeps downloading more ram as Viper's up to imp. And okay, that's somewhat of a forward TC for Viper. I guess he only has 2 TCs. Do you think TaToH could ram push fast enough to take a castle and a TC?
Where's Viper's forward TC?
I mean, it's the left TC. He's got 2 TCs.
Oh, you mean imp is being researched in that? Okay.
Yeah.
And there's the 3rd castle from Viper, and I am a little worried for TaToH that he's made all of this army, and he's not pushing across the map because it's such a long rush distance at this stage.
I mean, that would be maybe one way to throw the game if Viper gets imp and TaToH stays full castle, and then he's facing Viper with imp upgrades. This is a lot of rams, which fire archers, they won't do anything against rams, right? Unless maybe they had Red Cliff tactics and would deal... No, fire damage isn't to siege, it's just ships and buildings.
Yep. They get 1 bonus damage versus siege, and they fire a couple arrows, so it's not that bad, but it's not amazing for sure. It's not like Chuko
has
level
agreed
good.
that I would make a better emperor. So
As you can
sorry.
see, again, better than average, but not Chuko level good.
Yeah.
Or
And thank
TikTok
you,
level good.
yeah, thank you, sirs, for the sub. And now big ram push for TaToH. And I don't think Viper can stop this. He doesn't have a melee unit, just has to fight with some Vils. And the fire archers not really helping in anything. This castle will go down. Viper's gonna pull his entire village to fight the rams.
I mean, isn't TaToH screwed here?
I
Well,
mean,
we literally lost everything.
how did he just lose all those conks to the castle and he didn't actually ram the castle? The castle did not lose any HP there, Orlu. It's at 4,658. What was TaToH doing with the rams? Why didn't he attack the castle?
Well, he started bugging out around the mining camp that was adjacent to the castle.
That was weird. It felt like that castle should have been down for sure.
Wasn't
The rams
great,
went full
and-
nilly?
It is not very good, and now all of those rams are in danger. And I get, why didn't TaToH just click up to imp? Again, his imp is so much better at imp.
Yeah, and he's now he goes up to imp, and he's still 300 score ahead. And to be fair, he still could just go full skirm and have a counter to this, but he's staying
Yeah.
on conquistadors.
I mean, at the very least, Viper himself is going to have just as much of problems pushing as TaToH does. And TaToH still has a great KD. He's still ahead in resources destroyed. He's still ahead in resources collected, and has a better late game civ and a better eco. So in theory, this should still be okay. I think.
Well, let's see, where's the imp TC? Let's just make sure that's not in range of the fire archers now. It's not.
Not yet, anyway. No Red Cliffs tactics yet either, which actually is a huge help for those fire archers versus buildings. And right now, TaToH is just going to need to buy time. Viper is making a Lochuan, and those can certainly be very annoying in terms of destroying the shoreline.
Ooh, okay. So those things are just insane ships. They're like cannon galleons that also reliably can attack warships. They have 2 separate attacks, kind of AoE 3 like, where there's siege ships that also can defend themselves decently well.
Yep, and as a siege ship, they are ridiculous. They are far, far, far better than cannon galleons.
I guess they just don't have the same range, so they don't hit as far inland. But other than that, yeah, it's like Dromans on steroids.
Well, Dromans are worse against buildings than cannon galleons are, so there's at least a trade-off there.
Yeah, I mean
Lochuans are
from the
more
fact
expensive.
that you don't need chemistry for them, so you just make them right when you get there, and it's even better than the Droman, right when you get imp.
Wait,
Okay.
Viper just dancing around a little bit. He's fine.
Yeah, he's gonna get that
TaToH
castle
only
up.
just now getting wheelbarrow when Viper has handcart, though, is kind of painful.
Yeah, I mean the res collected. TaToH's only up by 1k res collected, and it feels like that ram push of his. That felt like it started so good, and it felt like he got the rams right next to the castle like he needed. But he didn't really use the rams to protect the conquistadors and get the conks like behind the rams under the castle like he needed, and then just didn't ram anything. I'm still so perplexed at that push and how it went so badly for TaToH.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Vills were there, so he's trying to focus on the Vills, and then the Rams just kind of tried to go to the side, and it just all sorts of did not work. That said, Ring Archer armor is going to be in here, and the Fire Archers are, as you would expect from an Archer unique unit, very bad versus Skirmishers. Now let's go put that +4 defense in. Oh, that's insane amount from Viper, to be fair.
Yeah, and we see TaToH, he went for the defense first for the skirms rather than bracer for this fight, because it's more important to keep the skirms alive and kind of rush them into the Fire Archers.
Yeah,
Then just one extra attack.
It's making a big difference.
But now, as long as he thins the numbers, the Conquistadors can finish them off.
Absolutely.
Because they also will benefit from that Archer armor upgrade.
Now, Elite Conquistador itself is certainly out of reach at the moment for TaToH, whose eco balance is certainly leaving much to be desired. That said, it felt like the most important thing there was to thin out the Fire Archer numbers. The issue is now going to be coming to push into the traction trebs, and that is going to be very tough.
Yeah, well, actually, they only have 8 Pierce armor. Conquistadors should be pretty good at sniping them off, right?
Oh, yeah, that's
they'll
true.
have 8 attack, right? I mean, our Skirmishers or Arbalests, no, they don't have the high enough attack against them. But Conks, I think, yeah. I think that maybe the problem for TaToH is now he's pulling back, when what he needed to do was continue the fight because Viper can replenish now the Fire Archer numbers, and he'll snipe the Treb. Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm really confused. What is TaToH doing? I mean, he just needs to try and fight his opponent. Okay, he's trying to push where his opponent isn't, but where Viper does have a big advantage is he has so many castles. Now, not only is that great for his Fire Archer production, but also just makes TaToH doing anything on the map extremely difficult. And these are still only Castle Age Conquistadors.
Yeah, and these are elite Fire Archers, so it's not like TaToH can simply say, okay, I can hold with castles on one side and use my army on the other side. Fire Archers will push the castles.
They sure will. Viper never got Red Cliff's tactics, though, and that's a huge mistake. It really makes a big difference against buildings.
Yeah, is Red Cliffy still in the chat? That's his favorite tech, I think.
Uh-huh.
Okay, well now, castle being trebbed by TaToH. TaToH has some bombard cannon out. But he's being pushed. He has to repair his own castle, and he's just defending with skirms against traction trebs. He's losing one castle to the Lushuans. It's falling apart for him. But it feels like there's still a chance for him because he has so many skirms, and Viper doesn't really have a way to stop the skirms. Oh yeah, the Conks destroy the traction treb. Look at that.
Yeah. Well, he's going for some good old John swordsmen, but they are awful in Imperial Age. Like,
and especially
actually
against,
terrible.
And especially against Conquistadors.
Yeah. Like, I feel like we're in the classic situation where Viper has just been playing better this game, but his Civ is so awful that...
Oh, there's supremacy for TaToH.
Yeah.
I hope supremacy is legit. Okay, I'm gonna fall back and keep playing and know that I'm not rated as harshly tech, and not a let's yellow the vills at the Fire Archers tech, because I still think TaToH should probably win this game.
Yep.
But you know,
champion plus skirmisher?
You know what the bad thing though for TaToH is he only has one castle left, so that would stop his Conquistador production if Viper pushes this.
Yeah, that's definitely been an issue for him. Viper has double the stone collected of his opponent, and he's still got 2,000 more gold. So that is actually a very real issue. TaToH's being fairly deliberate in taking down all of these buildings, and on top of that, he's going to secure some more stone, which feels quite important. But these traction trebs have certainly been getting a lot of value, but as you can see, this is what I was wanting to see from TaToH. Just wait for you to have a decent number of skirms and then start to push this back.
Oh, he's sending the vills. He's sending the vills, Orlu. He has enough skirms that it's not just YOLO against the Fire Archers. It's actually useful.
Yeah.
He'll keep the trebs back. I don't think they want to fight the Jin swordsman, but... Viper repairing, TaToH declaring his supremacy as he adds in even more TCs.
But now Viper has a decent number of Jian swordsmen out, and TaToH simply does not have enough conquistadors. And it's all about just balancing those different types of military units. And now TaToH is going to lose absolutely everything here to Viper's double gold comp.
And TaToH full skirms, but not enough conquistadors. And he's on only one castle. Doesn't have enough food. He's been pushed so much in his base that he's off of the farms. And without the food income, he won't be able to make more conquistadors. Also, he does have a ton of stone on the right he could still mine, but he's losing vills now. And Viper's gonna do this, or Viper is pushing now on the south, on the east. And TaToH is struggling.
Feels like TaToH is a little uncomfortable with how to approach this. Just not quite making those unit switches, trying to go very aggressive in Castle Age, even though that didn't really make a lot of sense. Viper did a really good job trying to leverage map control and just take all those resources, and he just was able to spam so many castles all over the place. And now it just feels like TaToH doesn't really have anything going for him.
And it feels like the Spanish are supposed to be a really good late-game naval civ, too. They have shipwright, the Wu don't, but TaToH still lost the water because of the Viper's earlier imp.
Yeah.
It feels like the Spanish should be able to answer all of this if they have enough conquistadors, but he wasn't able to get to the upgrades.
He wasn't able to get to the upgrades, and he wasn't able to get to the numbers because he didn't have the stone, he didn't have the imp time, and just TaToH felt so lost here.
Yeah. So the Ram disaster was indeed a complete disaster for TaToH.
Yep. I mean, 141 vills for Viper. TaToH, guys, still doesn't even have handcart. You think he'd have enough food if his farmers worked another 10% faster or so?
Yeah,
I think he would.
Think about that. Supremacy vills are going to be slower without handcart. So Viper keeps pushing. Has the great synergy that the unit killing vills is also the unit that kills TCs. And the fire archers now keep expanding everywhere. Could maybe even pick off those 2 bombard cannon. Oh, those are Gen swordsmen.
Hand cannons are, of course, going to obliterate the Gen swordsman.
Yeah, so will hand cannoneers then be enough? Oh, the Treb still goes down. But we see how traction Trebs with 14 range are basically just a better bombard cannon. 14 range, more hit points, more pierce armor, more base attack, multiple projectiles.
And cheaper. And the only
slower.
real downside to is they're a lot slower.
You don't need chemistry.
You don't need chemistry. And they attack a lot slower. 11 reload time, especially Spanish versus 5.3, so the bomber cans attack almost twice as fast. But again, it just doesn't matter because TaToH has been behind in resources, he's behind in taking efficient fights, and I mean, this is just Viper playing better this game.
Yeah, that ram push was the beginning of the end for TaToH, it looks like, because that was a complete disaster.
Yeah.
And he's been taking inefficient fights ever since. He's maybe stabilizing a bit now, but stabilized while still having traction Trebs attacking him. And he's stabilizing just because the traction Trebs are so slow at destroying buildings.
Yeah, traction Trebs so much better at camping in an area as opposed to actually destroying stuff. And now
he's going Cavalier.
With 18 vills on food.
I mean, the weird thing is, it feels like TaToH might still have some, like, tiny window to win the game if he can get a good push and clear some of Viper's army, and then kind of try to just get to the numbers he needs himself.
Yeah, he still is trying out here on the water, but Viper's got Carax. We're the worst imp civ? I mean, I do think they are one of the worst imp civs, but Viper's been playing a lot better. I think it's not unreasonable to say that if Viper were almost any other civ, the game would already be over.
Yeah, now TaToH will have to do his blacksmith upgrades. They cost food, and food's the resource of which TaToH has the least right now.
Yep, nice snipe there, and the castle doesn't have any upgrades. I mean, what are TaToH's? Upgrades are even, but it feels like Viper's are more of what he needs. But yeah, Viper, 4,000 more stone collected, 2,000 more gold, 5,000 more wood. TaToH has a food lead, but Viper just isn't really spending much food on anything. And that castle is going to go down.
And TaToH with a ton of stone that he can't spend.
Well, maybe not. Traction Trebs are pretty annoying.
And he'll call the GG.
Yeah.
And Viper will win that 3-0. So GG.
Archer's OP confirmed. Yeah, Viper with an 11% more efficient economy in an almost hour-long game. That had nothing to do with it.
Nah, you're missing how OP they are, Orlu.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like, though, with the Wu and Imp, you go in Fire Archer, Traction, Treb, and Jin Swordsman. That doesn't feel like it should be Spanish, and that eco, like, you can see the eco graph of kind of where TaToH's later to Imp, and then the Ram push failed, and then right after the Ram push, like, you can see the failing Ram push, he's just not able to recover from that. Even when he did get more numbers in military, the numbers were skirms.
Yep. And that's also Viper going for a triple gold army composition, with GN Swordsmen, Fire Archers, and Traction Trebs all at once.
Yep. So, Sweepy Sunday.
Indeed.
Yeah. Well, we've been talking about Hera needing to focus on Warcraft and maybe not paying as much preparation attention as he needed, but I know TaToH the past few days had been on some biking adventure. I saw he was streaming it. It looked awesome, but maybe he wasn't feeling 100% prepared for this either.
Well, regardless, he will be relegated to the round of 12. Well, I say relegated, he still absolutely has a chance to win, and he did look very strong against Hart in his first set.
Yes, indeed. Because, I mean, TaToH Hart these days is something where you might even consider Hart a favorite. Maybe depending on the map pool.
Yeah, for sure. So it's round of 8 is guaranteed to be Viper, Sebastian, Liereyy, and Andy, with the round of 12 players all being mixed up with Barles, Vinchester, ACCM, Lewis, Hera, TaToH, TaToH, and Hart.
So that's about it today. Thanks for co-casting, Orlu.
Of course, was a lot of fun, man. Thanks for asking.
Awesome. I'll do this again at some point. I need the help with my allergies. I can't go 7 hours, 2 days straight.
I'm here for you. I'm here for you, man.
Orlu, a big NASCAR. Is Orlu a NASCAR fan?
No. Bracket for dummies. So it's basically a modification of a GSL style bracket.
Yeah.
Or a group stage. So you win 2 and you're in. You lose 2 and you're out. But instead of the last matchup being a potential rematch, so
yeah.
I don't think that happened. Though.
Yeah. So this is how it works. So there is an opening round that's just where everyone in the tournament so far, every round, the matchups are assigned randomly. Players are put in pools based on their seeds, and then those pools are random. And that's to avoid the situation last time where it was valuable to lose a match in order to avoid Hera. So it's all random, so you can't predict that. And how it works is you have a first round. The winners of the first round face each other. The losers of the first round then face each other. And so in those elimination matches between the losers, the loser is out, and the winner survives. In the winners match, the winner goes straight to the quarterfinals, whereas the loser will then face someone who had won the losers match.
Yeah, and it's to avoid a situation that we saw in the group of Viper, Mihai, Hart, TaToH, where Hart and TaToH played each other. Viper went on to win against TaToH, and Hart went on to win against Mihai. And then it would be, if it was a full GSL style group, it would be TaToH and Hart again. So you'd have a situation where you're having the same players match up twice, which means that one of their sets didn't really matter because, it's like, oh, well, you just face each other again. So yeah, it works fine.
It's fine. It's just kind of confusing to show the bracket because of the randomization, where you don't have player names, I think. Feels needlessly complex. It works, but it's, when you haven't seen it before, I guess, just complicated.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's fairer, but more complicated. But anyway, that's going to be it for me. Thanks for casting T-West. Do it again soon.
Orlu sounds weird and he talks without moving his mouth. He's been practicing.
I'm a ventriloquist. See ya.
Alright, see you later, Orlu. Thanks for the co-cast.
Yep.
Alright, once again, let's just give a shout out in the chat to Mem for hosting it. And we'll go raid someone. Viper's doing an interview if you want to check out the interview. And we'll find someone who wasn't just casting Warlords and is about to go offline, and we'll raid them. Just got back, any more casts? Not today. We'll be back tomorrow casting USA Cup. T90's playing in USA Cup tomorrow. And I'm probably going to cast some recs of sets that are happening tonight. I'll cast them tomorrow, either before or after casting T90. So I will see you tomorrow. Thank you all for watching. And see, we'll end this on YouTube, and then go raid someone on Twitch. So thank you for watching, and let's go find a raid.